Hi, hello, everybody. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Hopefully, everybody's doing well and feeling well. Lilac, Dragoon, Ronan, Wakazi, what's going on? I hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you're feeling all right. Dragoon's got Rainbow Dash's ass jiggling at me for some reason, and I don't want to hear any judgment about the fact that I'm pretty sure I knew what that was. Flash Monkey, SMB fan, what's going on? Just got back from my trip to Santa Cruz. Okay, hopefully you had a good time there. Cage Short, what's happening? Or Lilac. Did I say Dragoon? I'm sorry. I thought I said Lilac. I was looking at your name because I was looking at your comment. FF6 is going well, I think. I just found Esper Terra in Zolo. I do have XP boost to keep the pace going, to be fair. I mean, FF6 is easy to break in multiple ways, so I mean, not easy-ish, but there's a lot of ways that you can break FF6, so I don't think that I don't think it's the Digimon problem. I don't think that using XP boost is gonna hurt your enjoyment of the game. You're gonna blast through it. I do think that there's gonna be some moments where you're not gonna understand how challenging it can be, but I don't really think that changes anything. I still love the game, and I don't really see it as a challenge anymore. Panajamma, what's going on? Shaking your Amog. It's not an Among Us, but every time I see that little ass shaking thing, I think of the Among Us. It's Among Us, but I would say Among Us. I think of that little character. Just be Pikmin 3. So I have one more to go. I just finished watching the THQ Nordic Showcase. I saw that you messaged me about that. I saw that you tagged me about that. I didn't watch it. I did see something about Epic Mickey. I think that's THQ Nordic. So I saw that. I didn't see anything else that came out of it though. So I'm curious to know if is it worth watching, or is it like, it's just a bunch of nonsense you're not going to care about. I didn't really like the I had a problem with the Epic Mickey. The Epic Mickey, it looked fine for what it was, but it also just looks like a 3D platformer, with some adventure stuff. But my problem with Epic Mickey is that it's supposed to be a paintbrush game, and it's supposed to be like artistic style, and you've got the classic Mickey. So I kind of wish it looked more like Cuphead, to be honest with you. I think 2D animated. Not even the rubber hose animation specifically, but I think the 2D animation would actually look better for that game. Ad break, really? I'm gonna snooze that. Yeah, Epic Mickey's a 3D platformer. I don't know. I just kind of wish that it wasn't. I wish that it was a 2D platformer, but it is what it is. Other than that, I think it looked okay. It's just I'm also not a big fan of 3D platformers. I for the most part, I think that they're, even when they aren't, they come across as collectathon. I've seen so many collectathons that they just kind of come across as that now. I don't think anyone plays. Hold on, let me go back up. I don't think anyone plays Final Fantasy VI for the challenge per se, unless you're doing like a Gao only run. Some people, well, I mean, back in the day we did, right? Back in the day we played a game like that, and it was, I'm gonna try and beat the boss, and I'm gonna clear the magic, the Worshipper's Tower, right? The Cultist Tower, and I'm gonna do all of that. Like, there were things that you could do in that game that were challenging. The Phoenix Cave, not too much, but I would say that there were some challenging bosses in that game. But for the most part, once you've done them, you don't ever feel the need to rise to the challenge again. You just, you use a trick or two or 10 and you just blast through the game. Hold on, we go. After you said that's a sentence I wasn't planning to hear. Anything worth note? New Darksiders, maybe? For those who are on Twitch Mobile, how do you like the UI? They don't. Nobody does. Nobody likes the Twitch Mobile UI. Trip was pretty good. I got to ride the giant. Oh my God, I thought that's a giant diaper. Giant Dipper roller coaster and eat some pizza on the boardwalk and look at the seals and dolphins at the Seymour Marine Center. That sounds fantastic. I don't think anyone. I've attempted 4 to 6 times. I'll say XP boost is keeping me more into the experience. Plus, I'm mature enough to not hold extra XP against the game. Oh, excuse me. Somber, thank you so much in the hunt with a tier 1 subscribe for 51 months. Very much appreciate that. Let me go back up. Sorry, it was meant for Ronan. How about the Pokemon mystery? Yeah, so we have a couple of small things to chat about, which is kind of interesting. How about the Pokemon's mystery dungeon at NSO? Okay, so I think I'm fine with that. I know that there's a full game. I know that they did like the remake of the game, so I'm fine with the original one coming out for free on the NSO. I think that that's okay. Obviously, there are a lot of games. I know people get annoyed with Pokemon games because there's a lot of stuff that there isn't that isn't available. My question is, I thought the Mystery Dungeon games came out like 2 at a time. Didn't they also do that? Or am I thinking Explorers? Didn't Explorers have like a 2 at a time sort of thing? Or did any of them have it? I don't know what I'm thinking of. Or maybe I'm just thinking the fact that there were a couple of the Explorer games. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Switched names a while back. It was Pama. Stuck with his name, so feel free to. No. Pana is what we'll call you. Wild Pixel Remaster. Unless I did something which I don't think it just starts. I think it did just starts with all those rages. That might be because you have the XP gain on. It might have something to do with that. Because normally, yeah, you only have a couple of them. They did make a 2D Epic Mickey on 3DS, which was good but short. And it was announced with TPC. The Scarvio is the 3rd best-selling Pokemon game. Red, Blue, Yellow was 1st, and Sword and Shield is 2nd. So always good to see boycotts working as intended. That's wild to me that Red, Blue, and Yellow are 1st. No matter how popular we think some of those old games are, the fact of the matter is there just wasn't enough consoles and there wasn't enough attention on video games in general for games that old to be the best. Like, if you told me that Mario 3 was the best-selling Mario game ever, was it? It might have been. Now that I say it, it might have been. But, like, Super Metroid, Super Metroid was actually the best-selling too, right? Yeah, so maybe it's not that wild. But it feels kind of wild to have a system, right? The Nintendo Switch with 146 million systems out there, or whatever the number is now. And then the best-selling Pokemon game are the Game Boy games. Like, that's so funny to me. Hold on, let me jump ahead here to talk about Balan Wonderworld is 3D platforming trash. Keep putting the wrong Pokemon games on NSO. Blue Rescue is for the DS. Mystery Red was GBA. Mystery Blue was DS. Okay, so wait, so they did split them up. Hold on, I gotta jump ahead here. Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team were simul released, as well as Explorers of Time and Darkness. Okay, so the Mystery Dungeon games, were there simul releases for those games, or were Mystery Dungeons just on their own? I apologize. It looks like you're going to get an ad in a second here. I don't have XP boost when I got him. I think he just starts with all of them. That's kind of interesting. I wonder why they would do that. That seems like a lot to do. I mean, it's also a lot of work to do. So, this should have had these in 2020 at least. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Sorry, I got the names mixed up. Yeah, so I don't know what the history of those games is. So many Switches out in the wild. You can make a rabbit farm out of them. The first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. They released for the GBA and another for DS. Okay, so they were initially, it was just a single game. That's what I was curious about. When I saw the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon getting released, I was thinking, wait, aren't these like simul release games where there's 2 of them? Why are they just releasing the one? That's what so this game originally was just a standalone game on its own when it was released. This wasn't like a red and blue situation. The OG was simul released on GBA and DS, but it was the same game. The GBA and DS games were the same game. It wasn't when you say simul release. That's why when I'm saying simul release, what I mean is 2 versions of the game. But the GBA and DS game were the same game. It was just on different systems. Okay, that makes sense. No, wait, you're saying DS was red, GBA was red, DS was blue, but they were released at the same time? Hold on, I'm so confused. I gotta look this up. Hold on. DS was blue. But it was... Hold on. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. It's the same game, but on different consoles. But they differentiated them as red and blue, but it's still the same game. They just said red and blue because so you would know that red was GBA, blue was DS. Is that what it is? Now, is it worth playing? Is it worth playing the original? or is this like just buy the new one at some point? Super was not the best-selling Metroid. That was NES followed by the GB game, which is so wild to me that that's the most popular game. So that's all of us. Okay, so you're saying they're worth it. You're saying play it if you like, if you get it. Play it if you like it. Get the remake. If not, no money lost. They can be tough. I would just recommend the remake. Now, when you say that, Gold, it adds a lot of nice quality of life features. Gold, can the quality of life features be overridden, or not overridden, but does the fact that it's on a system now, that I can just shut it off, that I can stop it whenever, like, does that save any of the problem? Does that save any of the original game, or is it like, it's just not? I mean, I'm not gonna get the new one just because I never played it before, so I'd rather play the one that's free. But it does make me kind of curious, like, if it's even worth it, because I think that there are some games that probably maybe don't play them. I know that there's got to be some. I can't really think of any right now. Although, no, because like the original Metroid, for instance, like I've said before, as much as I love Metroid, I think the original Metroid is a curiosity you go back to. I don't particularly think that if you want your first Metroid experience, I don't really think the NES game is the one you should be going for. Zero Mission is right there. If you're going to play it on the NSO, you've got the GBA. Zero Mission's right there. Just play Zero Mission. I think there are a few little changes. GBA is worth playing. The remake is better, but the GBA is solid. It helps the OG game more. Had some difficulty spikes. I looked it up, and apparently it was a simul release just across 2 different systems. Yeah, okay, all right. I think the remake is worth it, but I'm also a fan of the series. Mystery Red Blue is... the story ended. I got thrown off by the fact that you can so easily lose everything in a hard dungeon. There's no save scumming when stuff comes down to luck. Well, the Flash, there's no save scumming, but now before you go into a dungeon or while you're in a dungeon, you can save state. That's the thing, is that, you know, I get the quality of life features that a new game would add, but an old game on the service would have save states. You'd be able to stop the game whenever you need to. So I wonder if that solves a lot of the problem. For the longest time, Kirby's Dream Land 1 was the best-selling Kirby game. It took until Forgotten Land to surpass it. The NES games are likely the best-selling ones because they are ported to every console. But they wouldn't count, though. That's the thing. Well, not really, because, like, I mean, Metroid and, like, Super Mario 1 being on a collection doesn't count as Super Mario 1 has the most sales. It would the collection would have the most sales. So no, I don't know. I don't know if that actually works that way. Yeah, rewind time, Lilac. Like, there's a lot that you can do on the NSO service that would kind of count as a quality of life feature because it's just built into the service. Post game is kind of problematic. Before that, it's awesome. So if you ever want to try the Mystery Dungeon series, the OG is a super solid entry. If you like it, play the remake or Explorers of Time and Sky. I have one of those. I have one of those Explorers of Sky, I think. Yeah, I think you can quick save in the remake. It's like Majora's Mask, where that is deleted when you pick it back up. Interesting. Oh, you can't. Yeah, you can't hard save inside the dungeon. They don't count the. Well, you can hard save, but you can save state, right? Can't you save state? Oh, they don't count the port sales to the OG numbers. Yeah. Mario 1 did have the sales, had the most sales, I think. It's been a while since I looked. Explorers of Sky. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I have. Explorers of Sky is an improved version of Explorers of Time with extra content. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the version I have. I wish I could rewind time back to my middle school days and play almost every JRPG that was released during the PS2 days. I mean, that's a lot of games. You get burned out. The problem with Kazi is that you get burned out of those games. You start to, you know what also happens with Kazi, and I think this happens with a lot of genres, because I was a hardcore JRPG person, PS1 and earlier, and a little bit into PS2, but PS2, it was almost tough to find some of those games. The problem is, this is sort of a weird problem to have. You start to develop a specific taste. The more of a genre of a game you play, you do start to develop specific taste. So you do start to learn pretty early what you like and don't like. We've seen that before with strategy games for me with Final Fantasy Tactics. There are great games that I've played that I just don't like them, and it's because I've played enough of the ones that have the features that I do like that immediately I can understand what it is that I don't like. Action games, I've started to do that with action games. So, like, if you were to make a goal to play every JRPG, the reality is you'd very quickly realize what it is that you absolutely like and what you absolutely hate. And the second you run into a game with some stuff that you hate, you don't want to play the game anymore. You immediately say, I can't. I have tons of games that I've started and I got into a little bit and I just didn't like them. Sounds similar to the mana problem. The mana problem is unique to mana. I think the problem with the mana game, with the mana series for me, is not related to the fact that there are other games that do what I like better. It's that mana itself does a bunch of stuff that I'm not a big fan of, even within the mana world. Every mana game, I think I tweeted about this the other day when I was playing Visions of Mana. I beat the Visions of Mana demo. And it's the same problem, and I think it's the same problem across every single Mana game. They look amazing, they sound pretty interesting, they seem okay on the surface, and then the second you play it for 2 hours and you dig just below the surface, you find out that everything underneath there is as basic as can possibly be. What did I say in the tweet? A diverse group of adventurers go on an adventure to do something. That's it. Like it doesn't feel like it's any more substance than that. And I played some of those games for a long time. But yeah, that's not like I got bored of Mana games because Final Fantasy did it better. I got bored of Mana games because there just didn't feel like there was any substance there. Yeah, Gold, exactly. That describes everything ever. Now, think about every game that you like that you feel like it goes beyond that, right? Think about your favorite game ever. You think about your favorite turn-based RPG ever, your favorite Final Fantasy game. Why is it your favorite? I just described it the same way that game exists, except when you started to dig deeper into that game, there was more character development. The gameplay mechanics were a bit more interesting. The world was livelier than you imagine. There was a lot of nuance there that adds to that experience. Mana games just don't feel that way to me. Mana games are it's that sentence and that's it. I don't feel any particular pull towards any characters. I don't feel any particular pull towards the story or the world or the gameplay mechanics. Like nothing is none of it's bad. It's just there. I like using the term because it's funny, but it's as mid as can possibly be. It's just right smack in the middle. It's not bad, but it's not exceptional in any way whatsoever. That's how I feel about them. Except one. Actually, I'm sorry. Except one. I said this, they all look amazing. Visions of Mana looks incredible. Trials of Mana looks really good. Legends of Mana on the PS1, gorgeous. Probably the best looking one. Legends of Mana. Gorgeous looking game. And then you play the game, and it's just blah. It's there. It's not interesting. I start nitpicking. Then I start nitpicking. Then I start picking it apart, right? I start picking apart their little animations. We have to go over there, right? There's a line in the demo, in Visions of Mana demo, where the character, so it's a character that just shows up and he's explaining something about the history of the land and the history of like the Mana sword and all of this stuff, and he says, oh yeah, back in the day they didn't used to do this. They didn't used to have the situation in these adventurers. And the one girl says, oh wow, I never knew that. I never, I've learned the history, but I never knew that far into the history. And then the character goes on, and he says, well, yeah, they never had it before. And he just told her about this, right? He just told her about this. She just admitted that she had never heard of it before. And he goes, now all of a sudden that changed. Did you ever wonder why that changed? And she goes, oh, I guess I never really thought about it before. You just found out about it. Yeah, of course you never thought about it before. He just told you and you just admitted that you never knew. Those are the little nitpicks that I start to do when I get bored of a game. When I'm like, come on. Well, no, okay, that's not fair. It's not when I get bored of a game. It's just when they start to stand out more than anything else. Because I nitpick about everything. I do it just for fun. All right, how many times did I pick apart things in 16? And I very much like that game. Hold on. I think you might oh wait, hold on. Let me go back up. Mana. I know Mana puts Marcos right to sleep. I haven't really developed specific taste, except for visual novels. I will never play them. What's up, Mana, with you? Hey, Flip. I just had some fresh lechon. Right? I think I said that right. I haven't had that in a while. That's right. I ate a Pokemon. I think you might dig Mystery Dungeon more than mainline Pokemon. It has more story. It's not a collectathon. It's a roguelite with carrying progression in your character. I mean, I still have to get back to Legends. I still have to play Legends. If you wanted to play every JRPG, it would be a quest that your descendants would have to partake to complete. I suppose that's true. Sometimes you may or may not be down to enjoy the whole package, even though you like something about it. I can't pick a favorite game. You're kind of describing how I feel about 6. Fun game, good gameplay. I've seen better, at least in my opinion. If that were the case, we would not get any Mana games. They clearly resonate in oh yeah, and Gold. And I'm just talking about myself. I'm not bashing the franchise for anybody else. I never do. Gold. One thing you should understand: I never bash a franchise for everybody else. I will never bash a franchise and say that this franchise shouldn't exist and that people that play it are stupid. There is no way you will ever get me to say that about a franchise. There's nothing there's no video game franchise that I think doesn't need to exist or doesn't have the right to exist. Let me say that. It's just that's how I feel about it. I play them and I don't feel like I'm playing anything exceptional. If you're not, but here's the thing: some people aren't looking for exceptional in that particular way. Some people want exactly that. Some people want a run-of-the-mill RPG adventure. They want a bunch of bright, colorful characters. They don't want the stakes to be too high, but they want to have some stakes. They don't want any real gigantic surprises. They don't want this intense cerebral experience. That's another thing that I think people kind of crap on is like, oh, it's just a dumbed down story. Sometimes that's what people want. Sometimes people want a nice basic experience. Sometimes people want to watch schlocky romance movies where the woman, she just moved back to her hometown and her new love is there, or her new love comes with her or is back in the city, but then her old high school crush is there and he's become quite the manly man, but then she has her fiance back home and oh no, we have to get married and but we don't know what's gonna happen. Like, some people want that. Some people want that schlock. You know what some people like? Myself is included sometimes. Sometimes I want to go to a movie and I want to watch cars drive around really fast. People like to bash the Fast and the Furious movies, but you know what? Sometimes you want popcorn nonsense. Sometimes you want a movie with action sequences and explosions and very little story. And that's all you want. So for the Mana games, sometimes the Mana games scratch that itch just right for people. They are exactly what they want. They're a basic, relatively basic, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but they're a basic kind of story with a basic kind of cast in a basic kind of world. And that's all that people need. Mr. Al, thank you so much. In the hunt with a Twitch Prime subscribe for 53 months. I don't like my stakes too high. I'm a medium rare kind of guy. Who watches movies for story? Hey, Ryan. Yeah, hello. I just finished the first and hopefully not only season of Batman Cape Crusader. Perfect reboot of TAS. I like my exposure to car crashes to have more depth than just turn your brain off popcorn flick. Yeah, and Ryan, that's just you. And for me, I do like a little bit more substance, but sometimes, not really. Sometimes, you know what? Sometimes I want to watch, The Owl House. Right, sometimes I want to watch some interesting stuff with character development and I want to watch a cool story unfold and a little bit of mystery and like, ooh, who's that character? What's gonna happen? Oh, blah 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 blah. And you know what? Sometimes I want to watch Ren and Stimpy. I want to watch loud nonsense for 20 minutes. That's it, right? Maybe I want to watch the later Steven Universe. Right, so interesting. So the mystique of it all, and who knows what's gonna happen. And sometimes you want to put on Squidbillies. It happens. Say the same thing about Xenoblade 1. A ragtag group of adventurers going on a quest for revenge. A bigger threat looms. Sounds generic. However, at least for me, there's a lot of depth in the gameplay. Engage me to the very end. I mean, even then, and a bigger threat looms. That's already more complicated. Right? That's already more complicated than some games out there. What about the PS4 remake? Wait, which PS4 remake? The Giant Dipper isn't my first roller coaster ever, but it's my first wooden roller coaster. Those wooden roller coasters are kind of wild. SMB, I think that they're more exciting because there's a bigger risk that they're just going to fall apart on you. Secret of Mana is considered one of the best SNES JRPGs too. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's definitely up there. I think Secret of Mana is up there. I wonder. You know what I wonder? You know what I wonder about Secret of Mana? I wonder if Secret of Mana would have been dethroned by Trials of Mana if we ever got that over here. We didn't get Trials of Mana. We only got Secret of Mana, which was part 2, actually. We never got. Well, we got Seiken Densetsu 1 as that's Secret of Mana. We got that as Final Fantasy Adventure. We got that over here, and then we never got Trials of Mana. So I wonder what it would have been like if we actually got Trials of Mana. Hold on, let me go back up. Except my other. No, what did somebody say? Hold on. So use the F word. It's gonna lose followers. I like Cars 3. The other two I don't like. Oh, let me jump ahead here. Sometimes I want to watch G Gundam instead of Attack on Titan. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. God knows watching Attack on Titan is like, you probably qualify for some sort of emotional discount at a store if you watch that. My problem was how afraid I was to play RPGs back then. Oh, by the way, there's a hype train going on. Just realized there's a hype train going on. So if you got bits or Prime subs or something, feel free to use them. I thought they were too complex, even though they were not. I would gravitate towards more action-oriented games like shooters, fighters, hack and slashers. Yeah, RPGs they feel a bit intimidating. The menus. I think Wakazi. I think the menus kind of scared everybody. Hey, K Sorcerer, thanks so much with 100 bits. I very much appreciate that. One step closer to. I think I mentioned it the other day. Baldur's Gate 3 is on sale. I'm gonna get Baldur's Gate 3. Before it goes off sale. I think I am. I just have to wait. I got to get some more money. But I just pay my mortgage. So I'm like, give me another paycheck before I can go pick it up. Or I can go pick it up. Just download it. But yeah, every 100 bits helps. Toy Story 2 SGB has been fantastic. Yeah, we had a lot of fun doing that. We finished that whole game, by the way. Little spoiler alert there. We did finish the whole game. It's just a couple more parts. So the next week will be the rest of it, but we did end up finishing that game. That's why I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. To me, the story is lunacy, and the gameplay is aces. Endearing, not derogatory. The gameplay is aces. Maybe sometimes you just want to watch cute. Yeah, Mr. L, perfect example. Right? Sometimes I want to watch some action sequences. I want to watch a guy join the kaiju cleanup squad, but he transforms into a kaiju, and there's a crazy fights ensue. And sometimes I want to watch all of that. And you know what? Sometimes I want to watch a bunch of cute girls go camping. That's it. That's it. Definitely well-made action, even if it's nonsense. I love my deepest lore and stories, but I can't say I didn't enjoy watching The Rock holding 2 cars hanging from a chopper in Rob and Shaw. I didn't watch that one. I didn't watch the Rob and Shaw movie. But yeah, like even The Rock for all of his movies where you can't tell which movie he's in, but right, he's wearing the same T-shirt. You can't tell which movie it is. For all of that, those movies tend to be pretty exciting. What was the one where he was the rescue person, and then there was the big earthquake. Um, oh, he worked in rescue in California, and then there was a big earthquake. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to jump ahead here from a lot of stuff. Uncle got me into video games. Wasn't the big on it. Oh, it's probably why I didn't get into RPGs. I still wish I gave them a shot back then. Hey, the hype train completed at 69%. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate that. San Andreas. Hobbs&Shaw. I was gonna say Robin-Shaw. Hobbs&Shaw, I think it was. San Andreas. That one, yeah, it was fun. It was schlocky action nonsense, and that's all it needed to be. You know what movie I did like him in? Baywatch. The Baywatch movie, I actually kind of like that movie. I think that movie's a lot of fun. I like that movie. I liked what was it? CIA, Central Intelligence, the one with him and Kevin Hart. I like that movie. I think that's a lot of fun. Good games to have flaws. Yeah, it doesn't ruin them. I recommend that one. It's even more, we don't care about plot than the actual Fast and the Furious movies, but the choreography and action is so insane, you can't help but love it. I mean, there were a couple movies that came out that were nothing but that they were barely any substance. Crank, ironically a Jason Statham movie, Crank, where it's like a 90-minute action fest, because the idea is that if his adrenaline goes down, he dies. So the movie is like 90 minutes of continuous action. It's great. It's great. It's exactly what it says it's going to be. And it's just a nonstop series of ridiculous action sequences. And it's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But going back to the original point, that's to me what like Secret of Mana is, or the Mana franchise. The Mana franchise is it's standard, safe, traditional, high fantasy RPG, action RPG fare. That's exactly what it is. And it doesn't do anything more exceptional than that, except for me personally, I think it looks incredible. It's just not what I usually want when I play a game like that. I do want a little something extra. I do want especially an action game, I do like the combat to be a little bit more interesting for me. I like for the voice acting and stuff to be a bit. I find the voice acting is a bit goofy, and I like for it to be a little bit, again, not super serious. Not that they're not a Game of Thrones game, but I do like for them to. They need to sell me on it. I need a good direction. I need good directing in the voice acting and stuff in order for you to sell me on the story. Otherwise, I'm gonna listen to it like it sounds, which is kind of silly. That's why. That's all. I don't really. Yeah, I'm not bashing. I'm not, like I said, you're never gonna hear me say I don't like the Mana game, so they shouldn't exist. No. What kind of an a-hole would that make me to say that? It's the same. It's the same a-holes that talk about how Star Wars should go away, and even Kingdom Hearts, right? People who are like, Kingdom Hearts is too complicated. Why are they even making those games? And like, there's a lot of franchises that people say that stuff about. And you know what I say? You're an idiot. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. But you don't have a right to say that it shouldn't exist for the people that do like it. Come on. Who's saying Kingdom Hearts should go away? Like 8 people just jumped out of their chairs like, hold on a second here. I just want to talk to him. I'm going to point my catalog since I learned to give something nice. Most of the anime is Dragon Ball, Naruto, My Hero, JoJo, Inuyasha. And then there's Ranma, Dragon Maid, Cardcaptor Sakura. By the way, for anybody that might know, did they release an exact date on when the Macross stuff is coming to Disney Plus? I know that, unfortunately, I did see the list of what's coming to Disney Plus, and I don't think Macross Plus is coming, and I'm kind of pissed off about that. But it's supposed to be April, I think. Or August. I still say Michael Bay should only be in charge of pyrotechnics and stunts and not directing things. You know what Michael Bay's problem is? You know what I think Michael Bay's problem is? I think the problem with Michael Bay is that he was handed not important might be the right word, but an extremely well-known franchise. I think if Michael Bay does goofy movies, right? Michael Bay didn't do the Battleship movie, did he? Right, the movie that was about the board game. Well, not about the board game, but like that's the kind of movie I wouldn't mind him in. There were a lot of crazy explosions. The movie was kind of absurd, but nobody was really expecting anything ridiculous out of like nobody was expecting Oscar-winning performances out of the Battleship movie, right? Based on the board game. So, but the stuff that was there, I think, would have been fine. The problem, I think, with Michael Bay, in my opinion, is Michael Bay. He did that was Peter Berg. He did Transformers, and I think that's the problem. And I did Michael Bay did he do what was the space movie, the not Deep Impact, the other one, the Armageddon, wasn't that Michael Bay? He did the also awful Pearl Harbor movie. And the Pearl Harbor movie had great action sequences. And then the rest of it was nonsense. So, yeah, you're right. He should have been in charge of that. Yeah, I mean, the Pearl Harbor, it was also we have to throw in this extra thing. He did the Bad Boys movies were good. The Bad Boys movies were a lot of fun. Didn't he do Armageddon? I thought he did Armageddon. Where he told Ben Affleck to shut up for pointing out it'd be easier to train astronauts to mine instead of miners to astronauts. Yeah, but that movie's great. That movie's fine. It's nonsense. We don't expect it to be. Were you expecting Armageddon to be Deep Impact? Were you expecting it to be this Oscar-winning performance with these gut-wrenching performances and these tear-jerker moments? No, and it was still a tear-jerker at some points because when what's her face when she loses her dad and she's like holding on to like that was a heartfelt moment. I thought that was heartfelt. But yeah, I don't watch Armageddon and think like, oh God, you hate it? Oh, I love that movie. It's fine. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's nonsense, just like it's supposed to be nonsense. The you know who does it? You know who does it good that way? Roland Emmerich. Remember the Roland Emmerich movies? The like 2012 and Day After Tomorrow, like the disaster movies. I think they were great. Not because they were Oscar-winning performances, but because they were exactly what they were supposed to be. It was showy nonsense built on a premise that was most likely never going to happen. Right? There's no substance to that. We're gonna show you. There's special effects marathons, is basically what they are. But that's fine. That's what I went in for. You know what I mean? You're kind of amateur, and he says that he only ever makes specific types of movies with a consistent style, and that really didn't jail well. Yeah, and that's the problem, Mr. I don't think that kind of movie worked well with something like the Transformers. Although the Transformers is kind of weird because Transformers you can kind of do both ways. You can do Transformers in the 80s cartoon way where it's a goofy the story for Transformers doesn't have to be anything more, at least the first one wouldn't have to be anything more than what it was in the cartoon. They come to Earth, they get revived, the Decepticons want energy so that they can get back, and they want to enslave mankind to do it. And then the Transformers have to stop them. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. So you would fill the movie with action sequences and fights and stuff. And then later you'd probably want to get a little bit more complicated. Yeah, I think Bay did. I actually like the first Transformers movie. The second one, it had some funny moments, but that movie's hard to go back to. And the third one, I actually really liked. I'm kind of surprised that the third one wasn't more popular, I would say, but I think the second one really burned a lot of people. I think the second one really burned a lot of people. I didn't watch the TMNT movies. I wanted to watch them, but I never got around to watching them. And then by the time I went to go try them, they were off of Netflix, because Netflix did have them for a little while. Yeah, you get what you expect with Michael Bay. If anyone thinks it could be any better, you're wasting your breath. Yeah, I don't expect it. I mean, and that's kind of a slam on Michael Bay, right? Like, I see a Michael Bay movie, and I don't really expect an Oscar-winning performance. It's like, wow, don't say that to his face, but but yeah, right? All right, it's like coming here. It's like, oh well, we came to an Uncle stream. It hopefully the conversation is pretty interesting. I don't expect them to be good at the game or anything, but it's like, okay, Al, first of all, wait. Second of all, you're not wrong. Transformers 1 and 3 are hood classics. Oh, hood because they're cars. I like it. Throughout buddy cop movie with no plot. Oh, like Roland Emmerich? Greg likes Godzilla 1999. Someone ban him. Okay, well, hold on a second now. Wait a minute. The first one enjoyable to me. The third one, yeah, I think the third Transformers movie was underrated. Think Michael Bay's B tier stuff. Didn't matter. I think he got a whole legit franchise with fan base. His nonsense was less. His nonsense was less excuse. If you gave Michael Bay a nothing, right? You gave him nothing to do, like a nothing movie, a disaster movie or an explosion movie or some ridiculous. You know what Michael Bay would do good with? Give Michael Bay a modest budget, not crazy. Give him a modest budget and tell him to make remember those sci-fi movies, the sci-fi channel movies like Ogre and Sharknado, right? Stuff like Sharknado. I think if you were to give Michael Bay control over nonsense things like that, I think they would be great. I think they would be Jason X. I think they would be absurd scenarios and concepts that look visually really cool. And I think that's all anybody would care about. I think people would say, yeah, it's sci-fi schlock. And that's it. Michael Bay presents. And you know what you're going to see. You know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a ridiculous story that looks really good. I never saw those, by the way, Ryan. Jason X, Freddy vs. Jason. I never watched it. I mean, I'm not a big horror person as is. The last time I tried to watch... Jason X is the one in space, right? The last time I tried to watch... I think the last Jason movie I saw was 8? Like way back... No. The one when they kill him in the beginning. X is the one in space. I know I didn't see that one. I guess it was Jason 9. I guess it was the 9th one. That's the last one that I saw. Give Michael Bay the Predator franchise? Michael Bay. Jason Goes to Hell. That's the one that I saw. Michael Bay with the Predator franchise. No. I don't think so. Because Michael Bay with the Predator franchise, Predator was always really stealthy and and like it was subtle, right? The best Predator stuff is always it's almost like sci-fi suspense, right? There's a creature in the woods. Like that's the best way Predator has always worked. If I were going to put Michael Bay on a nonsense schlock movie, it would be a future battle movie in the Terminator universe. If you gave Michael Bay a Terminator movie, but it's the future, you're not worried about time travel. It's a standard action movie, but it's in the future Terminator war. Yes. I'll take it. RoboCop. RoboCop's interesting. I think RoboCop has more nuance than people think, especially the first one. Although the second one, you know what's a good Michael Bay sort of movie is probably RoboCop 2. It's over the top ridiculous, but it's kind of good for it. You know what I mean? Have you ever watched the original RoboCop movies? RoboCop 1 is actually really interesting, and then RoboCop 2 is action nonsense. But it's good. It's good because of that. Somber, yeah. RoboCop or an Aliens kind of film. Yeah, I think Aliens was streamlined enough story-wise. I think Michael Bay would work in an Aliens movie, a pure action movie. Not Alien. Not that mystery suspense movie. I think a second movie, an Aliens movie, I think would work well with a Michael Bay. Time Cop. Damn, it's been a while since I heard anybody mention Time Cop. Holy smokes. He was producer for Texas Chainsaw, Amityville Horror, The Island. Yeah, I saw you mention that. The Got Milk ad. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Purge, Quiet Place. Wow, he did Quiet Place and Purge? Purge kind of makes sense, but he did Quiet Place? Doesn't seem Disney gave a release date. It's just coming. It's coming. Anything not coming. Actually, Disney issue. It's a rights holder wanting to charge extra or separately for the. No, they're not. It's going to come to the service straight up. They had already announced that it's going to come to the service straight up. I saw an article that's had the dates, but I guess they haven't actually posted them like themselves yet. Yeah, emphasis on plural. Yeah, Michael Bay presents Superman. It doesn't work for me. Like, that's not the right character. I don't think that's the right character. Michael Bay presents Fist of the North Star. You might be on to something here. You understand? I don't know. You could say Transformers has standard above Michael Bay when we have lore in which Optimus Prime is themed after Pepsi. Just saying Transformers is an attacker. And AGM, I that's why Transformers is interesting to me, because Transformers has has several reputations, right? Transformers has a reputation for being one of the original robot shows, for the US especially, or in one of the bigger ones. It has the toy reputation, right? Everybody remembers the reputation about the Transformers toys. There is a reputation among Transformers fans for having lore that's a little bit deeper than people think. If you ever dive into the Transformers lore, it's actually a little more nuanced than people think. We just didn't get that here. We didn't get a lot of that here. And then, of course, if you go further into Transformers, we're talking past G1. That's the thing, is all of this that we're talking about is basically still G1. But then when you go beyond G1, it gets a lot more complicated. He actually has more horrors and actions. Interesting. He also did Black Sails. He did Ouija. Wow. Transformers at lower Optimus Prime thinks he's the father of a human child. Saying anything Disney isn't adding. Isn't adding Macross Wise when it comes to Disney Plus. Wasn't them purposely. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think the only thing they're not adding is Macross Plus, because I think they are adding Do You Remember Love? So, yeah, I think they weren't adding the movie, which kind of sucks. Starscream dies every episode in G1. Years and years ago, there was an article that was why Starscream should have been fired from the Decepticons. And it had 5 huge examples of like moments where he tried to kill Megatron or he just tried to take over, but they're all from the first episode. every example that they took, it has like a 3 or 4 paragraph description of it. Every example is from the first episode. How Sages? He's good. Sages, he terrifies me and then he doesn't terrify me. It's the same thing, CT, every time. I get nervous because he's been sleeping a lot lately, which I always think, oh, no, that's not a good thing. But then I remember that it's the summertime, and I'll feed him, and then he'll be upstairs eating, and then he'll run past me at hyper speed because he runs after he eats. Or he thinks he saw something outside, so he needs to come down to the kitchen window so that he can see it better. So, like, I think I worry about him, and then he does a bunch of stuff that's like, yeah, he's fine. Also, isn't Truck Not Monkey canon to the lore? I don't think that's canon to the lore. Actually, Beast Wars is canon. Watching Beast Wars now, you can see how horrible the animation was. But it was still kind of groundbreaking for its time. That's the interesting thing. Like Beast Wars actually did something really fascinating because they couldn't really animate a bunch of different characters. So what they had to do was they had to use the models that they had over and over again. That's why Beast Wars actually has character development. That's the reason for that. Like if you actually watch Beast Wars further in, I didn't watch the whole thing. I watched the last 2 seasons of it. But the further you watch into it, like you realize, wow, there's a lot more character development than there ever was in Transformers. And that's why. It's because they couldn't really afford a whole bunch of character models. So they had to make a cast and then they had to stick with that cast. So they had to do things with them, and they had character, and Beast Wars actually had like legit character development as you went through. Like you had characters change sides, you had new characters that appeared, and they didn't know who to fight for. I think I'm pretty sure you had a couple of characters die. You had the Beast Machines where they sort of transformed, but they became other characters. Like there was a lot going on in those movies, in those shows. I mean, Beast Wars, when I heard. Yeah, they actually started doing character stuff. I like Starscream and Transformers Armada, but he's like the complete opposite of how most Starscreams are. Something, limitation breeds creativity. Hey, but sometimes it does. You had the Cheetor figure. I actually didn't like Beast Wars at the time. And it wasn't until the show was over. And then somebody gave me a bunch of episodes, and they said, "No, you got to check this out." Like it's actually because we were G1 fans, and they're like, "No, you got." There was a thing when like Starscream's ghost showed up and took over Waspinator. Those were like fun one-off episodes. They were okay, but it wasn't until they went through what was it, a time portal or something, and then they landed on primitive Earth where the G1 Transformers had crashed. So they were there while in the arc, in the crashed ship of the G1 Transformers, and they had whole story arcs there. That I think that was the whole last season, or maybe the last 2 seasons. It was super interesting. Yeah, they go through a time portal. Oh, they go through the time portal at the very start of the series. Oh, okay. So when did they figure out that? Were they on the same planet as the Ark the entire time, and they just didn't find it until later? That's the one thing that I had missed, I guess. Unicron is the exact same character in every show, is it? Michael Bay presents Rouge the Bat, the Paramount Plus series. Me and my brother had a blast with Transformers 4 and 5. It was so bad we couldn't stop laughing at it. We almost got kicked out because we were so loud. I didn't watch any of them past 3. I didn't watch the Marky Mark one or Bumblebee. I didn't watch any of the Transformers movies past 3. And it's a shame because I really liked the Dinobots. So I was happy when they were going to show up, and I just didn't care. Did those movies ever add the Mark? Yeah, wasn't that it? Wasn't it Marky Mark? Was it? Right. Marky Mark was fought with the Transformers. Bumblebee's the one that everybody likes. Bumblebee's the one that everybody says was a decent movie. So that's probably the one that I should watch. And what's the one? Was it Bumblebee that has the G1 sequence in the beginning of the movie? Like it shows them on Cybertron, and everybody said this is the best movie. Why didn't you just do this? Why wasn't this the first Transformers movie? It should have been that. Who's the funky bunch then? The Transformers. The Transformers. That's why. They're funky because they transform. That's what it is. Oh, and John Cena was in it? Oh, no. Yo, it's about that time to transform and roll out. Come on. You could have had that in the movie. This is a couch. When I just respect people like Michael Bay and Zack Snyder. Don't make socially beloved movies. They are legit, well-behaved people. Over your Christopher Nolans or Tarantino's, who only have their good movies as the only redeeming quality as people. But I don't know them personally. I don't know enough about. Wait, you're saying like Christopher Nolan and Tarantino, or I mean Tarantino? I always heard he was weird, but I never heard he was like terrible or anything. And I don't know anything about Christopher Nolan. At the credits said John Cena was in it, but he's invisible. We're talking Transformers cartoons. There's one called the animated series that aired on Cartoon Network. It had more superhero Ben 10 feel with the Autobots. I'd have to see it. I watched this like huge documentary on YouTube about like every Transformers series. I watched it some time ago. I could have called Wade and Knuckles. Missed opportunity. The human characters in Bumblebee aren't written by Michael Bay, so you don't want to throw them off a cliff. John Cena as Optimus Prime? Probably not. But John Cena as one of the Transformers, who would John Cena play? If John Cena was an Autobot, Who? See, I feel like John Cena would be one of the Lamborghinis. I feel like John Cena would make a good like Sunstreaker. I think it'd be actually no John Cena. Cliff jumper. Maybe cliff jump. No. Atomic. Hound. Do you think it would make a good Hound? Cliff jumper's not bad. Oh, Braun. Oh wait, he can be Braun. I'll take John Cena as Braun. Yes. The Rock is Cliff Jumper. John Cena was unironically great as Peacemaker was. I've seen clips of that show and they were terrific. Like the show looks fantastic. Apparently, The Rock voices Cliff Jumper in the. Oh, he already was Cliff Jumper. Okay. Oh, you're right, Alpha. You're right. John Cena would be Mirage because he can go invisible. Yes. Yeah, 100%. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. But do you have a Chikari as supervillains? Because Batman has. You know why I don't have? Because that's such a great sequence where he yells about Batman. Because Ryan, you're definitely sitting there like, he's kind of right? He's not entirely wrong, but he's not 100% right, but he's not entirely wrong either. 50% battery. I think Michael Bay and Zack Snyder can be great directors if they have producers and staff that keep them in check. Otherwise, they tend to go mad with power, and we get stuff like Snyder's Moon. That's on Netflix, right? I really have to get Netflix for a month so I can watch a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's on Netflix now that I want to catch up on. So I have to get Netflix for a month so that I can watch all of it at once. The new Batman animated show looks incredible. Ryan saw it. Ryan said that it's incredible. Caped Crusader. Who could play Dinobot from Beast Wars? Ooh, I have no idea. CT, how have I been? I've been okay. I've been kind of bummed out this past week. Sorry to jump off of the topic there. I've been kind of bummed out this past week. I think I figured out why. So we had to cancel stream. I'm sorry for canceling stream yesterday, and I'm sorry for canceling a lot of streams lately. I've just been kind of here and there, kind of in and out. Like I'm fine for the most part, but I changed my diet, and I think that sort of messed with me a little bit. But I also figured out. I think I figured out today what was wrong. What was wrong yesterday, or what's been wrong. What's been wrong this whole week, I should say. So it's gonna sound stupid, and I know that it is. I know that it's definitely a first world problem. The way the weather's been lately, it's actually been really good beach weather. Like it's almost like being at the beach. It's been really humid out, and it's humid, but it's warm, but it's kind of chilly. Like if you're in the shade and the breeze blows a little bit, in the morning especially. In the morning is basically what I'm talking about. But it's almost like being at the beach. If for anybody that's ever been at the beach in the morning, and you know that it's warm, but there's a little bit of a breeze because you're near the water. It's really humid because you're near the water. Like everything about being outside this past week, every day, it feels like I'm at the beach. But the problem is I'm not at the beach. But I haven't been there for years, and I really like the beach. And I know that, again, I know that it's a first world problem thing, but I love going to the beach. I love the feeling of it. I always feel completely at peace there. It's my happy place, like more than any other place, more than going down to the creek, more than sitting on my couch playing a video game. Being at the beach is probably my happiest that I'm ever that I am ever in existence, is sitting on a beach. And not even I love the boardwalk and stuff, but sitting on the beach, I'm on a chair or I'm on the sand, I'm listening to the water, I go into the water for a little bit, I come back out, I sit on my blanket, and like all of that is the best for me. And I haven't been there in like 3 years. And it's kind of getting to me. And for the most part, it's like, all right, I haven't been there, it sucks. But then this past week, every morning, it's like, it feels like if I close my eyes, I would think I was at the beach. Like that's how the weather's been. So the weather's kind of really killing me. I think that's what it was, though. I think it's why I was so bummed out this past week. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry for just for canceling. And I always say that the streaming always makes me feel really good when we do that. Like when I'm in a bad mood, sometimes I do stream anyway, and I feel really good. But I was just like, I had to get outside yesterday. I really needed to go to, and I went to the creek and I sat there for a few hours and listened to the water, got my feet in, and I relaxed a little bit and it helped. But 5 weeks until my Cancun trip, I'm excited to be by the beach for. Oh my God, see how great that is, Marcos. See how great that is. And you know what's so weird too? It's so weird that does anybody like the beach? Does anybody really like the beach? Not the boardwalk, not the other stuff that you do. Does anybody here really like the beach? I love the beach. And so many times when I talk to people, I don't like the beach. Right? It's the Anakin situation, right? They don't like it because the sand gets everywhere, or they don't like the sand, or the sand is hot, and or I don't like the beach, but I like going to the boardwalk. Like, people don't like the beach, like and I'm like, I don't get it. I love it, man. I get my feet in the sand. You know what I mean? Sitting down on the sand, get my chair. I get into water. I frolic in the water. There's no better word for it. I do the thing where I stand with my feet in the water, and then as the tide brings the sand in and out, I sink into this. Like, I love all of that stuff, man. I love all of that, and it's weird to me. It feels weird to me that the vast majority of people that I talk to cannot stand it. I hate going outdoors in general. I mean, that's not a good thing. There's got to be some version of the outdoors you dig. That's always healthy. It's always healthy to like some version of the outdoors, whether it's camping or the beach or the mountains or just being out. Some people like being outside in a city. Some people like being in an urban environment where they're surrounded by buildings and stuff. Like, it's always good to be outside. Or, you know what, Ryan? I'll be honest with you. I know people that hate going out, but they like being outside their house. Their porch is all set up really nice, and they're maybe they've got a deck or something, and they love sitting out on a deck, but they hate going places. I love dipping my feet in the ocean. I love the beach. I don't like leaving covered. See, I don't mind that. I get home and I shake out all of my stuff, and I've still got some sand everywhere. I don't care. I think that it's awesome. You know what sand means? You know what? If I've got sand in my backpack or something, you know what that means? It means I was at the beach. That's what it means to me. I don't know why Cancun is funny to me. It feels like it should be spelled differently. What about busting? Does it make you feel good? I know, I almost said that, Marcos. I don't mind the beach. I hate the beach. I almost lived all of my life in the English South Coast so I could come across a bit like I take it for granted. I live by the ocean. Oh, see, I live by the ocean, so it's mundane for me. I wish I lived so close to it that it was boring. I'm not a beach person, which is funny because I grew up in Miami. Well, well, KH, you also grew up in Florida. Maybe you didn't like the people at Miami Beach. I can't feel your connection for that. If it means anything, in the last couple of days, I got commission hired to do long plays, and I made enough to at least prevent things getting worse. So thank you for that as well. I'm glad for you. I'm glad for you, AGM. Hopefully things can pick up a little bit more as far as work goes. I haven't been to the beach in a while, but it's been positive. Where I go in South Carolina, kids pick up and throw jellyfish around. Yeah, people still suck. But the beach is awesome. I haven't been to the beach in 10 years. Oh, that hurts. Haven't lived in Florida. I like going to the beach, but I dislike how crowded it can get. So off season is. Oh yeah. Even me, I'm an off season person. I like in the summertime because I do. That's another thing is that hot weather. I can't stand hot weather. I don't like it. I don't like. I'm sweating my ass off. I walk to work or I go somewhere. I walk to the store and I'm sweating my ass off. I don't like it, except when I'm at the beach. If I'm at the beach and it's 95 degrees, I'm happy. I'm fine. I'm on the beach. I go and I get in the water. I sit on my chair under my umbrella. It's hot, but it's breezy, right? Because the breeze is always coming in off the water. Like I even eat hot weather. I like at the beach. I hate it everywhere else. Even at a pool. If I had a swimming pool or I had a pool membership or somewhere around here, I wouldn't care. It wouldn't be as fun as being at the beach. I prefer beach a cold. I prefer a beach in a cold environment, though. Interesting. I've been to the beach when it's cold. I've walked on the beach when it was like January, and it was nice. Not because of Sandy. I just hate getting pinched by crabs you don't see. I don't go outside anymore unless I have a legit reason to. The heat takes too much out of me now. Not interested in going to the beach, especially in the last year and a half. I wouldn't have thought my country would have so much to be upset about all the time. I mean, it's Flash. It's definitely unique problems that you're having, but I can at least tell you that you're not the only one having problems. They're probably not as catastrophic as yours, but trust me, I think everybody's kind of struggling everywhere. I'm very sensitive to little things. So things like a little sand stuck to me. Okay. So you get like it's like an irritant for you. Oh, I love mountain hiking. I like walking to the gym. Hey, I do that too. Outside, as long as it's under 30 Celsius, sure, I guess. I don't like the beach, but I also have only experienced UK beaches, which are 2/3 trash and needles. That's not okay. Hold on, I'm jumping down. I hate heat. Summer's evil. Bring back anything else but summer. You don't like you don't like feeling hot. Just not when I'm not when I'm not at the beach. So many people coming down to Florida in the area where I live, and it never used to be this packed when I was a teenager, so it's not as enjoyable. That's kind of a bummer. And the first batch is Cruising Exotica, which I love. Wrestling Revenge, Custom Robo, and Blast Core. I was going to do Tony Hawk 2, but I can't properly play that game without a memory card. That's why I want to visit a forest without any other humans nearby, because they'll ruin the natural ambiance of the forest. You'd be surprised, Wakazi, if you go hiking in the right places where people respect it. You can hike through there, and the trails are safe, but it's not covered in trash. You can't do it in like an urban environment because people go there. That's the problem. You got to go hiking where you have to hike to get there, because if you can just get there from the parking lot, a lot of people will mess it up. So what does it take to get me to the beach? A car would be the quickest way. I did some research. I'm doing some research now into taking mass transit to get there. There is a way for me to take mass transit to get there. The problem is it takes a long time. Well, not long. I mean, it takes like 3 hours or so. So it would take me about 3, maybe 4 hours to get to the beach. The issue is I would then have to get a hotel room in order to stay, because I'm not gonna do the 4-hour trip to stay at the beach for 2 hours and then be another 3 to 4 hours to get back home. It's a while for me to get, because I'd have to get to the city. I'd have to take a train to Atlantic City because I go to the Jersey beaches, obviously. So I would have to get to Atlantic City, but Atlantic City sucks. So from Atlantic City, you'd have to catch a bus to get to one of the better beaches, and from Atlantic City to the other beach is another hour. So all in all, the whole thing would end up taking me like probably 4 hours total in order to get there on mass transit. So I'm not going to do that for a day trip and then do 8 hours of travel for 2 to 3 hours of time at the beach. So I would have to have like a hotel room, which it's better to do that off season, because off season is a lot cheaper. And so after Labor Day is a good time to do that. And then I could go on a Monday and then come back on a Thursday. And then I can spend, the hours traveling on Monday morning, have the whole Monday, have Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I check out of the hotel, I go to the beach for a little bit, and then I catch a bus and I go home. I thought Philly doesn't have beaches on the river. No, I wouldn't get in that water anyway. I wouldn't touch that water with a 10-foot pole. No. The beaches, the river line here is all developed, so it's either harbors or developed piers. Like not piers. It's just a developed waterfront. It's a built up waterfront. Yeah, there's not beaches or anything like that. Maybe rent a car, split it with some folks. KH, I've looked into renting a car. Renting a car would be a lot easier. Again, it would just cost more money. Splitting it with people would be fine. You know what the problem is, KH? This is going to sound crazy. I don't know anybody else that likes the beach. What did I just say? What did I just say a little while ago? That everybody I talk to about the beach seems to hate it. I don't know anybody else that likes the beach. Not even close to the way I like the beach. Not even like, yeah, I'm fine with it. I don't know anybody that's like, yeah, hell yeah, let's go to the beach. If I went to the beach with people that I know, they would splinter off to the boardwalk, and I would go to the beach, and I'd be at the beach all day. I'd say, call me when you're done. River water near cities, too much yeah, it's looking for not touching. It's a lot of stuff to do. 45-second ads. SpongeBob ad. I liked summer more as a kid than I do now. Summer is comfortably at the bottom of the season tier list for me. Only thing saving it is watermelon and barbecues. Hey, you can have those. You can have those in the other seasons. Yeah, I mean that's Kia. Summer was also kind of biased because summer was when you were off school. So right off the bat, summer feels better than some of the other seasons. But yeah, there was always a lot of fun, especially with your parents. You know, your parents would because your parent, let's say you had that kind of lifestyle where your parent, you went on vacations as a family and stuff. They couldn't do it when you were in school. So the second you were off school for summer break, that was when you went on trips and stuff. You went to the beach, you went to the swimming pool, you went camping, you went to visit family in other places. Like that was when you did all of that. So summer was always associated with a really positive experience. And then you get older and then you get a job and you realize, wow, I don't stop working in June. I continuously work through the summer, and then summer starts to suck because summer becomes, oh, now it's hot and it's miserable and I still have to go to work. I have to sit in traffic and I get it. I get why people don't like summer, and I've always been a summer hater myself for the same exact reasons. Even though I've always loved the beach, I've always been sort of a summer hater. I've grown to appreciate it more though. This summer's just been brutally hot, but I have grown to appreciate summer a lot more. Spring is best for me. Yeah, like spring and fall. I guess those are the really best ones. I think those are probably the best ones. Autumn has negative bias to going. Yeah, autumn has negative bias to going back to school after the holidays. Like people don't like that. Winter, spring is the one that's a lot of fun for people. Adulthood was such a lie. I prefer any other season that isn't summer. Winter is my favorite because it's cold, and it used to be my favorite for the exact same reason. And now that I'm an old man with a blanket over my legs, I don't like it as much. Right? I think it's gotten too cold. Winter's gotten too cold for me. You know what I like? Fall, autumn. Give me autumn. You know why? Because it gets chilly, but it's not so chilly that I can't do anything. It's actually chilly enough so that I can go and do stuff and be comfortable outside. And then at night, I get a fire going, right, in a fire pit. You do some s'mores and stuff. Love it. Love the autumn as an aesthetic. Love it as an aesthetic. Winter is just too cold to do anything. And I used to love winter, man. I used to love being outside in the cold and all, but these last couple of years, it's just been killing me. Spring, there's pollen out, so you get allergies, you stay inside and play video games. Summer is too hot, so you stay inside and play video games. Winter's too cold, stay inside and play video games. Fall is nice, so you open a window and you stay inside and play video games. That's right. The weather's getting better. Time to open the window while I play Rocket League. Yeah, spring or autumn, I think are the more popular choices. Fall is my second favorite. Despite its name, it never fell off for me. Summer's my busy time at work, so I don't get a summer. Yeah, that's always kind of a bummer. Like I knew people that, especially younger, where summertime meant going to the boardwalk to get a job. So they would get a seasonal job at the boardwalk, which they would get and complain like, "Oh man, it sucks because I'm at the beach, but I got to go to work." It's like, yeah, but you're at the beach. You're not working all day. You're gonna get off. You're either gonna be off in the morning, or you're not working 13-hour days. You're either going to be off in the morning or you're going to be off at night. So go to the beach. That's what, whenever I talk about, man, I would love to live there. And people always say, yeah, but you have to like live your life. You still got to get a job. You still got to do, you got to do the normal stuff. And I'm not delusional about that. I know that if I were to live at the beach, I'd have to do the regular stuff. I'd have to get a job, and it's not like I can go to the beach every day and be a bum. I'd have to actually do everything else. But when my downtime shows up, the beach is right down the street, and I can go there, and I can go and sit on the beach, or maybe I can walk the boardwalk, or I can go and learn surfing again, or go more than the one time that I went to, which I enjoyed, even though I hated the boards that they gave us. But I had a blast doing that, and I would love to keep doing that. But it's a cumbersome experience for me. I can't exactly take my surfboard on the bus and go there. I can't go there regularly enough anyway, so it's just not. It wasn't worth it for me to do. But if I lived there, I'd be right there, right? I grab my surfboard, I get on my bicycle, I ride to the beach, right? A couple minutes to the beach, and I'm surfing. See what's that? Which is, I stay inside and draw for 5 hours. Unless I had too much of that, I just can't. And then I stay inside and play video games. Hey, Trios. You know, soul's lost something when you look outside on a snowy day and think, ah, crap, the traffic. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. The only negative about autumn is leaves. Leaves are falling, so either pick them up or rev up the lawnmower. Yeah, I don't mind that. I do the lawnmower thing. I just wait and then I just lawnmower them all. I love to surf, but I'm terrified of shark attacks. I don't know. I don't think that happens as much as people think. Isn't there like a statistic where like people have been attacked more by cows than sharks or something? I always remember hearing some statistic like shark attacks are really not that common. It's just you hear about them all the time. You hear about them and well, not even all the time. It's just when one happens, you hear about it. But yeah, there's some statistic out there that's like people get attacked more by cows. People have been injured more by cows than sharks. Yeah, it's over exaggerated. And you know the blame for that. Everybody knows the blame for that. It's Jaws. This is Jaws' fault that happened. Cows do statistically kill more people than sharks. Yeah, I don't know about sharks, but I'm definitely avoiding hippos. Well, I mean, good news about United States beaches. They don't have too many hippos. And sharks are the least scary animal to me. Yeah, people always say that, like, oh, I'm worried about sharks. I'm actually more worried about jellyfish. I think jellyfish are way more terrifying. Jellyfish are way more terrifying to me because of their ability to injure me. Or not to hurt me. Right? Oh, those are the little jellyfish. They don't really sting that bad. They sting? Okay, I'm out. I don't want to be stung by a jellyfish. And no, I don't think it's going to be a paralyzing. I don't think it's a box jellyfish where I'm going to be paralyzed by it. I don't think that at all. But it's going to hurt a little. That's it. That's my concern with jellyfish. Not that I'm going to be stung in a paralyzing way. I'm worried that it's going to hurt a little bit. And it's going to be a surprise. It'd be like if somebody said you take a pin, right? And you prick yourself in your hand. And if somebody said at some point in the day someone is going to do that to you. It's not life-threatening. It's not a catastrophic injury. You're not bleeding. You're not writhing in pain. And yet, I'm going to go around all day thinking, is this it? Is this where I'm going to get poked? and I'm terrified. I just don't like the water in general. All the stuff in it doesn't help. What about a pool? You don't like a pool? What about a swimming pool? Screw sharks. You know, scary bears. They can run, climb, and swim. Bears can and do track people who they get pissed at. They can also break into houses and cars. I've seen the thing where they unlock car doors. That's kind of terrifying. I'd be more worried about jellyfish. They call it some other language. It's more fun name. Medusas. I'm worried that I might not know right away. Finding Nemo instilled that fear of jellyfish in me. Yeah, we were at the beach one day and there was I guess the warm water came up a little bit, so there were jellyfish and they were the little ones. They were the little guys. Nothing, you touch the little tops and stuff. I didn't want to get in the water. I was uncomfortable getting in the water. Were they going to kill me? No. Was I going to end up in the hospital? No. Were they going to potentially hurt me just a tiny little bit? Yes. And that was enough. I didn't care. I don't know. There's something weird about it. There's something strange. Like if you tell me there's a gigantic danger, I'm gonna take care. I'm gonna take caution. If you tell me there's a significantly more likely chance of a little bit of danger, I'm probably gonna be more cautious. It wouldn't hurt to try. Imagine a Hawaiian roller coaster ride playing in my head while doing it. I like water, but the animals in the water scare me. Yeah, it's like the boxing meme about the guy about to do a Kamehameha. Yeah, it's like he probably couldn't, but I ain't gonna mess around and find out if he would. Important caveat to that shark versus cow study is that people also interact more with cows, and there are more cows than sharks. So that's a large fact. Yeah, I know. It's just a funny story. Dragoon. It's the same statistic where people who are afraid of flying, someone always tells them you're actually more likely to statistically die in a car accident on the way to the airport than you are. But it's like, yeah, but that's because there are way more cars and there are way more accidents, and realistically, I can get into a car accident and not die. Not a lot of people walking away from plane crashes out there. One of the YouTubers I like said a few times he'd love to have a pet bear, but that, of course, it would be the equivalent to a death wish. I mean, yeah, I never wanted a pet bear. I think they're too big. Give me like a panther, right? Like a pet panther. You ever seen? It's like search Luna. I think it's Luna the panther, and I don't know if they're part of a rescue group or something, but they have a panther there. And the panther is like a house cat. It lives in the house with them, and it walks around, and it lays on them. And oh my God, it's like a big giant Sagers. Holy smokes, I want one. To the person nervous on the plane. Nervous? I suppose. First time? No, I've been nervous lots of times. The last time I tried to fly, I couldn't even get on the plane. I'm ready to try again. It's just, it costs money. But I'm ready to try again. But yeah, the last time I tried to get on a plane, I was supposed to go to Florida with my father, and I had a panic attack, and I couldn't even get on the plane. Yeah, also more bad drivers. I got stung in my crotchal area by a jellyfish, and that was the last time I got into the water at the beach. Oh, so you have a very specific reason to not want to do that. More accidents happen at home than on vacation. Yeah, I mean, people spend most of their time at home. Yeah, exactly. The lion's mane jellyfish was featured in a Sherlock Holmes story, and it sounds terrifying. Tendrils can spread really far from its body, and they're difficult to see. I know the lion's mane one. What's the Portuguese man o' war? Isn't that the one? Aren't they huge? Isn't the Portuguese man o' war like 20 feet long? Aren't they the really big ones? I don't even know if they're dangerous. I watched those shorts of Luna the Panther too. Aren't they amazing? Come down to MomoCon and play Mario Party with us. That's been, I don't know. I need to do, you know what I need to do, Ryan? I need to do like a small flight somewhere. I need to fly to like a Boston or something. And just so like, you know, nothing, no huge commitment, right? Fly in Saturday morning, fly out Sunday afternoon. Just something to sort of get my feet wet into being on an airplane. Because it's been a long time since I've been on an airplane. And the last time I did it, I felt like I had to. And then when I had the choice not to, I took a bus back. I don't think I ever told you guys that story. Turning midnight. Better finish up everything and get ready to sleep instead of staying awake until past 1 a.m. Later, Flash. Have a good one. I hope everything is all right. Man o' War Seas supposed to be able to sink battle. Yeah, aren't they huge? Aren't the Portuguese Man o' Wars gigantic? A small flight. Time to go to Tokyo. Oh my God, I wish, right? Yeah, I've been saying that for a little while. That I think I'm ready to get on a plane somewhere and just to try it out, right? It would have to be stateside, but it most likely just East Coast. But yeah, I think that's probably the best thing to do. Maybe there's like cheap flights to Florida. Maybe I can do that and find a hotel, you know, near the beach in Florida. The good thing is I can Uber places now, because that's all I really need to do, right? If I fly down there, Uber from the airport to wherever my hotel is, just live in the hotel area for a while, and then Uber back to the airport when I'm ready to go. Most of us live in the U.S. or Europe. If we lived in Australia, I'd be worried. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Australia is significantly different. The Man o' War I know is Gigabolt Man o' War from X8 in that terrible stage. All right. The only other thing I had to talk about was the Game Informer. The Game Informer got shut down, which isn't really. I mean, so you know what I'm gonna say. I'm probably gonna sound like an a-hole when I say this. So far, I think Twitter's been pretty good about Game Informer shutting down. I think they've been pretty good about it. I think that everybody is somewhat apologetic. they're, I'm sorry this happened to you guys. This is sad. Thank you for all of the help that thank you for all of the help in your magazine and all of the fun and 33 years of magazines from you guys, and thank you for that. But I haven't seen anybody. How could GameStop do this? We need to save print media. Like, I haven't seen anybody kind of lose their mind over it, which I know sounds kind of terrible, but sometimes some of this stuff, I think everybody kind of admits that Game Informer existing and video game magazines themselves existing, it's kind of a novelty at this point. It's a lot of fun. Maybe you have one or two of them, but I think for the most part, everybody's kind of accepting of the fact that it's we're thankful for what we had, but it's gonna go. I think most people probably weren't even buying the magazine. I used to read, oh my god, man. We used to read all of that, man. Game Informer and Game Pro and EGM and a little bit of Nintendo Power. I love Nintendo Power, but Nintendo Power obviously very biased. PSM magazine was the same way, right? That was the PlayStation magazine. So, but I definitely preferred all of the ones that were more widespread. They were the industry magazines. So you got your Game Pros, your EGMs, and your Game Informer. I think they were probably the top three. Unless you guys can think of any other ones, but they were probably the top three for me. But they were great, man. It was always really fun to read that stuff and see what was going on in the industry, and because that's what you needed to do back then. You needed to read the magazines, and you needed to find out everything a month later. The real anger is that the shutdown was so sudden. Yeah, even the staff was stunned. Yeah, which is such a bummer. Yeah, I was mostly Nintendo Power, especially at my younger age. EGM and Game Pro, I think, were the ones that I really read the most. They were the ones that I really read the most. And that was because I wanted all of the information. Like, Nintendo Power was always fun to read, but Nintendo Power, because it was just Nintendo Power, was just Nintendo stuff. So I liked EGM and Game Pro because they gave me, it was a little bit of everything. So I always got a kick out of those. But yeah, if I got my hands on a Game Informer, that was great. A Nintendo Power or a PSM, I think those were pretty good. PSM had the demos too. That was always good about PSM. But yeah, that was a ton of fun, man. And I wish those people the best. I hope that everybody lands on their feet. As I always wish with these situations, it does kind of suck. But I do think that as far as Twitter and the gaming public goes, I think everybody's kind of handling this kind of well. As sad as that sounds, everybody's handling it. Like, nobody's freaking out. I'm not seeing anything about cancel them, and I think it's probably because we already hate GameStop. But everybody's handling it really well, and it sucks. But it's also something that I think, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people didn't know that they were still around. It's just one of those things where print media magazines, I'm a little curious why they're not just transitioning into an all digital format. But, as far as the physical format goes, I think everybody kind of knew this was coming. It happened pretty much to everybody else. Nintendo Power at least had the bias in the name. Bias? Is that what that's supposed to be? At some point, even when Game Pro, they stopped giving me when GameStop Pro, they stopped giving me Game Informers, and that did annoy me. Game Pro is how I found out about Final Fantasy VII. The cover had Tifa on it, and I was a young lad, and she looked nice to me. Executor, if you can, find me that cover. Find me that. I don't think I can't picture that cover in my mind. Oh, since Gold brought it up, how about ROM? Oh yeah, Gold. Hold on, where was that? Yeah, ROM hacking also shutting down. What is the story behind that? Behind ROM hacking, ROMhacking.net, right? What is the story behind them shutting down? Are they being shut down by somebody? I saw that they were shutting down, but I didn't see what had happened. Did they get sued? Are they under fire from anybody? I mean, that's what happens normally. They had a physical one too. Alpha didn't Game Informer still have a physical? Like, I guess they were special order, but I think they were still making a physical magazine. You could still technically order because they had the cool covers where it was the front and back, so you'd open up the whole thing and it was one big giant image. Yeah, Game Informer recently had some really, really cool covers. Yeah, it's like the way a newspaper. They were trying making Game Informer digital, but they tied it to having to buy GameStop Pro. Why would I want cheap viewers? I don't want my viewers to be cheap. Damn, we got double botted. Did you see that? That was amazing. It might not have been a cover, but an article about Seven. I just remember it had a big picture of her on it. It sucks, but unfortunately, print media has been mostly gone for years. It's a surprise Game Informer we're still around. Yeah, so I'm happy for them. I'm happy they got to live this long, but I'm sad that they're kind of gone now. Well, I'm sad again. I'm sad for the employees. I'm not sad for what the industry has lost. I'm sad for the employees. It's not Nintendo. It's the creator not finding it viable to keep up. Wanted to let someone else run it, and then they then tried to steal all the site's data. So he just shoved it all in an Internet Archive and said, "I'm done." Ugh. E3 issues of gaming magazines before we had easy access to the internet were so hype. Every time you turned a page, with the equivalent of a Nintendo Direct moving to the next segment. It was GamePro issue 109. Cover had everyone on it. Inside it had a bit. GamePro. And did they ever archive all of those magazines? Inside and out. Oh, I remember this cover.
These are intriguing to me, and
I do remember that cover. Hey, she followed us. Holy smokes. All right, let's wow. Hang on. Wait, where's the other thing? Hold on. I was looking at something. No. Huh. I used to be able to do something. Oh, okay. There you go. Spend money here, people. Sorry, only high quality viewers here. Absolutely. All right, so this was the cover. I wonder if I can find. Let's see, GamePro 109 Tifa. Ah, there we go. Is it the picture that says you want a piece of me? Is this it? I don't know if that's the one or not. Let's see. It might be that one. Yeah, that's it. Hold on. Let me go to the page here. Visit. Is it this one? Oh, you got it? You got it? Is it that one? Can't call out preservation community in his departure post because people who tried to let take over were prominent members of preservation community. He tried to steal his site data, and he discovered they had set up chats talking about how stupid he was, how they were going to take everything they could. I wonder why they were going to take it. I'm going to be AFK for a few minutes. Speaking of Inside Out, I'm waiting for isn't that Inside Out 2 to come to Disney Plus. Yeah, when is that coming to Disney Plus? I'm on top of Ponce. Okay, I thought you were calling me a Ponce. Ate some fresh lechon. I thought you had more? Good lord. All right. But yeah, the GamePro thing. Yeah, but the ROM hacking thing, so that's interesting that they just didn't want to do it. It's funny that eventually that stuff it's work. And if you can't monetize it, and I'm not saying you should be able to monetize it, but if you can't monetize it, it's probably just not worth it for a lot of people to keep going. And if you try to pass it off and then you get scammed, your instinct is, all right, well, then you're just not going to have it anymore. It's kind of a bummer. But all of that stuff is out there, though, is what you're saying. They put it on Internet Archive so people can actually access what was already there. She said, "You want a piece of me, program boy?" They were hoping to break the site's data into pieces and sell it to the community as tiers. Oh, yeah, so they were going to try and make money off of it anyway. Yeah, put it on Internet Archive. ROM hacking, what now? ROMhacking.net. It was the website. But it's shutting down. They are going to shut it down. So, that stuff, that stuff never dies. That stuff is not going to go away. It's just going to evolve. Somebody else is going to do it. and hopefully they're not gonna find a way to monetize it, or at least hopefully they're not gonna monetize it. But at some point, everybody, it cracks me up because you have these situations where these big game companies, they do these things and people say, oh my God, I can't believe they're nickel and diming you for everything. And then you have sites like this that shut down because they can't make money, and people say, well, that happens. It's like, well, so everybody's trying to make a buck. I mean, that's seems fair. ROM hacking situation is now your common. Nintendo got pissed one day. Just a lot of doxing involved, and apparently also a bit of petty aspect on how they're not needed anymore. If you're making a ROM hack, you can just go to a Discord server and post on Reddit and so on. And they're not wrong. I mean, again, it's the magazine situation, actually. It's sort of like the magazine situation. You don't need magazines anymore because it's easier to get the information faster and more efficiently. You don't really need a full ROM hacking site because in something like that, because if somebody's going to make something custom, they're going to make a Discord server and they're going to distribute it there. And you're going to say, yeah, just join a Discord server. You can come here. You can get it. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, of course, the big problem is it was nice to have a centralized location for everything. What I would say, I would be interested to see if somebody makes a centralized website that has everybody's Discord. So, all right, I'm going to search by game. I want to see if there's any ROM hacks for this game that are brand new. Oh, here's one. And then instead of the actual thing, it is the information about the person who made it, and it's a link to their Discord server. That'd be interesting. So then you could still have one website where you go for everything, but it just links you to everybody's Discord server. Means you binge, you will never ever find it. You want to step down because of time to run and cost to keep it all up. Apparently also tried to find successors years ago, but once they saw how much work it took, they all basically said it's not worth doing for free. Can't take away ROM hacks. Yeah, and you get malware. And he also made it clear he had received no threats from Nintendo or another company to shut down. He says he stayed in his lane and they let him keep moving along. So, wow, it's almost like Nintendo doesn't actually care about ROMs the way everybody thinks they do. The problem is what happens is the sites hosting the ROM hacking tools. And again, I think that you would probably go to Discord servers. I think that the people making the ROM hacking tools would find some way to advertise, and then they would just link their Discord servers. And then it's up to them if they want to monetize your Discord server, which would suck. But I feel like most of them won't. We've gotten a few games from Discord servers, and they were free. If you use Bing, you will never ever what's this? Because Reddit is charging to appear in search results. Oh, you never see it? You never see it? Is that what that's supposed to be? All right. I don't really have anything else. Do you want to play? Want to play a little NES tournament stuff, or did you guys want to do something else? Oh, I saw that they're doing the next Maximus Cup, the next Tetris 99 Maximus Cup, which is the Splatoon side order. I didn't see the actual video though. There should be a video for it, right? Nintendo always puts out a trailer. The Eternal Life of Goldman. What the hell is that? Where's the actual trailer? Did they put out a trailer for it? Hang on. Yeah, did Nintendo put out a trailer for the new Maximus Cup? I'm not seeing it on my feed anywhere. Latest. No, I see the Epic Mickey trailer. There's a Darksiders. Oh, this is all the THQ Nordic stuff. Darksiders, New Tale from Tarsier, Gothic 1 Remake, Titan Quest 2, Wreckfest, Way of the Hunter, The Eternal Life of Goldman. So that's all the stuff from the THQ Nordic. Yeah, nothing about the new, what's it called? NES tournaments, I do have it. Just sure, don't do Excite Bike. I'll do about as well as Homer Simpson jumping Springfield Gorge. They're doing DLC for Tetris 99. Must be running out of ideas. Yeah, it's only the 42nd time they've done they've done a theme for the game. They've got to be running out of ideas by now. Hopefully, we're still waiting for a Paper Mario one. Wreckfest is an incredible demolition derby game. That's an older game, right? Whoa, Thumper is coming to the MetaQuest platform. That's going to be a crazy VR game. Yeah, it says Wreckfest 2. DLC Tetris 99 DLC before Superstars. No need to hurt my feelings there. Oh, there was no trailer yet, just a tweet announcing it. Okay. Why would you do the tweet without the video? Did they do the Princess Peach Showtime skin? I think they did. Hold on. I got the game up right here. I think they did. Love to see Greg make Olympic records. Olympic records for NES? Wait, Olympic records is an NES game? What's that? Isn't the Princess Peach Showtime skin just Peach but with an angry face? They did, right? I'm pretty sure they did. I'm opening up the game now literally just to see. Let me see. Customize. And themes. I don't use any theme except the Splatoon one still. Yeah, there's a Princess Peach Showtime one. Showtime, there's an Endless Ocean one. They did the F-Zero 99 one. Yeah, I have them all here. I have one. What's this? Oh, I didn't get this one? There was that. I apparently didn't get the WarioWare one, but I have it now. Sales Paper Mario and Luigi Mansion 2 have come out both over 1 million. Luigi fans throw. Many Paper Mario fans are frustrated because they expected higher numbers. I saw that. It was like 1.6 million. I'm not going to lie. I kind of expected a higher number myself. For Paper Mario, I did expect a higher number. I was a little surprised about that. You just grab a super rare copy of Stadium Events with your life savings. Even I don't have that kind of money. Oh, damn it. I don't have the tournament edition game in there. I got Trials of Mana, though. Oh, well, wait. Hold on. I'll tell you what. I don't have it in there. Did they... Oh, no, it's not out yet, right? The Pokemon game? Is the Pokemon game not out yet on NSO? People forget Paper Mario isn't the highest selling of the RPGs. Hey, D. Mana again? No, I was going to play Pokemon, but I that's not out yet. I guess that's not till what, next week? I'm so used to Nintendo, like, oh, by the way, these games are on the NSO. TT Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. They're bringing the original Mystery Dungeon from GBA. They're bringing it to the app. I thought it was out already. Yeah, I don't have the tournament game in there, so I don't want to get up and get it. I'm lazy. Yeah, I should probably switch over to that. Mario RPGs aren't that high of sellers. Bowser's Inside Story was the best-selling RPG, and it was like 3 million. But Paper Mario, I don't know. And bear in mind, it's not just all Paper Mario game. It's Thousand Year Door. It's the game, and the fact that it's 1.6 million, that does feel low. That does actually feel low to me. I do wonder if that's the kind of game that people are just going to buy later. But, yeah, that does feel a little bit low to me. Feels low considering how many people were excited about it. At least it outsold its original release by 500,000. Oh, it did? I didn't expect more because it sold where I expected it for a remake. Very good. So the fans say, prove Nintendo wrong. You're setting your goals too high. Yeah, I did expect it to be at least 2 million. I felt like 2 million. I honestly thought it was going to be like 3 to 5 million. relatively quickly, but that might be a slow burn of a game. Maybe that's just a game that goes that sells for a long time, but I'm kind of thinking it's not, to be honest with you. Would you want them to remake another kind of Paper Mario game, or more like a Mario? I'd like them to remake 64. I'd like for 64 to get a touch up and have that brought out. What kind of game would I like to see? If I wanted a brand new one, I think I'd like to see a new Mario RPG. I'd like to see something. I'd like to see them evolve that a little bit more. Not Rabbids. I'd like to see them evolve that a little bit more. It probably did hit 2 million. It was late sales quarter, so maybe it does. It doesn't matter. Mario and Luigi will sell better anyway. Plus, I'm more biased towards Mario and Luigi and Marcos. And that's the thing, is that what happens if a Mario and Luigi game comes out and it doesn't sell that much better? Well, the Mario and Luigi game is coming out. So what happens when if that doesn't sell that much better? What if Mario and Luigi barely crosses 1 million in the first couple of months? It's like, I don't know. I just kind of thought there'd be more. And it's not bad. It is what it is. If it sells, it sells, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's kind of like, wow, I did think that would be a little bit more. I need to try their hand at another Sonic RPG. I mean, I always said I'd be curious to see what would happen if Nintendo had Sonic. I'd be hella curious to see what would happen if Nintendo had Sonic. I'd be super interested in that. Yeah, CT, maybe that's it. Inflation hitting kind of hard, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Paper Mario is the kind of game that people would have set money aside for. There are games that kind of do that for people, but yeah, it's a little surprising that it isn't more. I'm more thrilled for an original brand new event. Oh yeah, Marcos. I'm still happy that it's coming out, but modern Paper Mario fans exactly like gameplay changes. Even if older fans don't agree. Origami King sales weren't a fluke. It doesn't prove the classic formula has a market. Paper Mario also came out at a weird time. Beginning of summer, right? I think that's... I don't know if that would contribute to poor sales. Maybe there are other times where it could have worked better, but I don't know. I don't know that releasing it at any other time would have made it do that much better. Like even if you released it in September or October, somewhere around there, and it sold a little bit more, I don't think it would be more. I don't think it would be like, oh my god, if they would have released it in October, it would have sold 8 million copies. Like I actually don't think it's that much more. I think it's just going to be a slow burn. I think you're just going to have to wait and see what happens. If the economy is hitting people really hard and people are just having to make choices about the games that they buy, that might be a game that they don't buy. Not immediately. Again, it's also difficult because if people really wanted to play it, they probably already have a way of playing it. So it does, you heard that all the time when the game was coming out. It's $60. I can emulate the game. So there are people that are going to emulate a game like that. So it's not surprising, but it's a little disappointing, maybe. We're saying Origami King is at 3.5 million sales, so it's not a bad number by Paper Mario numbers. The only high selling was Super with 4.3. Like by the standard of the series, I'm sure hitting the numbers of other titles is still a win for Nintendo. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm sure Nintendo's still happy about it. I'm sure Nintendo's like, yeah, that's great. Not to mention they have that engine now, so now they can use that engine. I'll take some of the other Paper Mario games with that game engine just fine. I'll let you do Sticker Star again. Just make Sticker Star again. Just do that. Use it for Color Splash. I like Color Splash. Do you mind if I ask you, Nadox, what's going on? Despite it not being something you'll be able to answer, you can try. I can't guarantee you that I'll answer it. That's what I always tell people, Nadox, is you can ask a question, but if I deem it that I don't desire to answer it, I won't answer it. Is it considered rude to pop into someone's stream just to say hi to someone? Is it the streamer? Or like you want to say hi to somebody else in the thing? Wait, here we go. I'd be down for Super Paper Mario remake as well. Don't worry, it doesn't matter. It's Switch Effect. Switch Effect! Here we go. A more fleshed out Mario RPG would be great. Yeah, I think that would be really nice. The streamer. Okay. No, I think it's fine. Pop in just to say hi. What's wrong with that? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. hey, I haven't been here in a while. I just wanted to say hi. I'm sorry I haven't been around, which people always do, and you don't have to be sorry you're not around. It's just that is what it is. But no, I don't think that that's a problem. I think it would be weird if I said, hey, I'm sorry, I'm just popping into your stream because I wanted to say hi to one of your people. Right? Let me tell Uncle Silver that I'm only here at his stream to say hi to Ronan. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. You could probably just whisper Ronan and say hi and then leave, and then right? So it's a little weird, but no, just to pop in and like, hey, I haven't been here in a while. I just wanted to pop in and say hi, and I miss coming here, and I know people do. And again, you don't have to apologize or anything. It's just some people do that. Yeah, I have arrived. Yeah, Wordy's here. Wordy's here to say hi to. Come on, hold on. I gotta say the name. Melania, right? Melania? Is that that's the Elden Ring character, right? I think the game was so awesome. Even outselling OG release, I think anyone who went in 1,000 door sales expecting the game to shove it to Nintendo is going into it with the wrong mindset. I didn't even think of it as like, this will show Nintendo. I just thought like, I think people will really like this game. I think people will really enjoy this game. I think that everybody's been clamoring for the return to form for Paper Mario. So it's a bit surprising that here's what I think. I think it seemed like millions of people were saying they want a return to form for Paper Mario, and it doesn't seem like they all bought the game. That's what it feels like to me. But again, that could be a number of reasons. They could be waiting. The money could just be tight right now. But I don't fault anybody for that. I don't fault anybody for not buying it. But I'm just saying it is kind of a surprise. I want a third Paper Mario in the original style, so I bought it day one. Yeah, Sombra's only here to say hi to Sage. That's it. Overthinking I struggle with because of anxiety. That's why I have that sign back there. I don't know if you can. Can you still see it? It's hard to see, but that's why I have that sign right there. That's what that sign says. That sign says, "Relax. You are overthinking." I need to take a picture of that and make that as a button that I can push. Yeah, it's the F-Zero thing. It's the F-Zero thing. It's the Kid Icarus thing. It's any other franchise. It's Pokemon. Well, Pokemon's kind of different, but or it's a different kind of Pokemon game. If you made a different kind of Pokemon game, we want Pokemon. It's different, and then you remake Mystery Dungeon, and then not that many people buy it. It's any other franchise. We need a more elaborate Mario RPG. We need Sonic to do something different. We need a return to all of these sort of things, and then they come out and then they don't sell really well, and they or they sell moderately well. They sell 1 million copies, and people think, man, that's awesome, and then but sometimes they're not. That's not awesome. Again, if a brand new indie game sold 1 million copies, they'd be really happy. If a brand new Mario game sold 1 million copies, I think a lot of people would rightfully say, what? That's it? Yeah, those sales numbers in such a short amount of time. It's a wonder why people don't understand why Nintendo sells Mario games, remakes, or remastered full price. People will buy it. They'll buy it. And they'll buy it over time. Did you see Smash Brothers? Smash Brothers sold more than, like, in the last quarter or something. Smash Brothers sold more than Mario Kart or Animal Crossing. It sold more individual copies than either of those games. But those games are still... It's kind of crazy. Like, they just did the sales numbers thing. At least F-Zero still has a very dedicated user base still playing 99. And again, and Ryan, but that's the point, is that they're playing 99 and they'll love 99. And then a new F-Zero game will come out and it'll sell 500,000 copies. And they'll be the most dedicated 500,000 people there ever were for F-Zero. But that's not the millions that some people will make you believe. It's, I've said the same thing about Metroid. I love me some Metroid. But when people said, oh, Metroid Dread's going to sell 10 million copies, I'm like, no. Metroid Dread is not going to sell 10 million copies. I don't think it's hit 4. I think it like limped over 3. And I knew that. And I knew that was going to be the case. It's Metroid. I love Metroid, but it's never been super popular. It's been well known. It's been loved by the people who love it, but it's never had the broad appeal. It's never been a Zelda. Well, it used to be, right? Back in the Super Metroid days, it was a Zelda. back in Prime days, but the GameCube was sort of the GameCube. So yeah, it was never like that. I knew that wasn't going to be the case. I guarantee a new F-Zero on the Switch would sell at least 1 million. Probably. Yeah, I think it would sell 1 million. I think absolutely it would sell 1 million. 2 million? Maybe over time. 3 million? I don't know. I don't know about 3 million. 4 million? We're I don't know. I don't know where we are at 4 million. Metroid Prime will be lucky to make 3 million. Metroid Prime 4, I think, might actually be a fluke. Not a fluke, but I've still said that I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the Breath of the Wild. I still think that it's going to be the game that people buy. It's going to be the showcase for the new system. It'll work on the old system, but there'll be an update, and it'll be the powerhouse showcase game for the new system. And I think that because of that, I think people who buy the Switch 2 early, the early adopters, I think they're all going to buy Metroid Prime 4. I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be the highest selling Metroid game. But some of that is going to be because it was the premier game for the brand new console, and everybody bought the brand new console. I do think that. It does get a question I posed. 4,000 Door came out. Everyone said it was going to crush. What if it does less than we expected? Is it a sign Nintendo wasn't exactly wrong to change the franchise? I mean, we're kind of back and forth on that, right? Because you also have like the Final Fantasy discussion where they question whether or not they should have changed how they do things. And I did the math months ago. F-Zero does as well as system. It's on based on Switch's numbers. An F-Zero on Switch that's properly marketed would have done around 2 to 2.5 million, which isn't that bad. No, that's not a bad number. That's not a bad number. I think that if an F-Zero sold 2.5 million, I think that would be really good for the system. I think F-Zero is another game maybe that would benefit by being one of the new Switch 2 games. I think that would be a good idea if you launched the system with Metroid Prime 4, a brand new F-Zero, and then a couple other games. I think that would be a good idea for the system. Again, you can do the same thing where it's a visual powerhouse. It's something that really drives people to the system, right? Because you don't need the big ones. That's the thing. It's coming off of the Switch to sell the Switch 2. You don't need the big names the way you did before. You don't need a Zelda game and a Mario game within the first year. You don't need any of that. The system's going to sell on its own. It's going to sell on the strength of the Switch was awesome. That's what it's going to sell on. I'm just switch back here. Switch. It's going to sell off of that. So this is a good opportunity. We talked about this before. I think using a powerhouse franchise was a good way to sell Switches. I think using the Switch 2 as a powerhouse system to sell franchises is going to be a good idea. I think that you can do this the other way around this time. You can sell the Switch 2 and you can use that to promote a couple other franchises. Metroid, and you could probably do F-Zero. I think F-Zero would be a good franchise to use to promote. To be honest, if I'm being honest with you, it'd also be nice to see a brand new Kid Icarus game. I think if the Switch 2 launched within its launch window with Prime 4, F-Zero, and a new Kid Icarus within the first 3 to 4 months, I think that would be amazing for the console. I think they can all be graphical powerhouses that really show off what the system can do. I think they can have interesting game modes. I think that there's a lot that those games can do, and the driving strength of the Switch 2 would be enough to promote those games. I think it would work. I think that those games would sell a couple million a piece. Several million a piece, actually. Launch with Prime 4. A couple other games, Snipper Clips 2, right? Right? Some fun stuff, right? You do want to have some fun stuff on there. You've obviously got the NSO still there. I still think that the system is going to be backwards compatible, so you don't really have to do a lot to make some of these games interesting. And then slowly but surely you use the launch window of the Switch 2. Including the first holiday season, and you use that to launch some new franchises or some old franchises. I launched with like 4 games. Racing title, action title, platformer, and a sports title. And they'd make bank. Yeah, it's easy. Prime 4 sales will depend on if the Switch 2 has full backwards compatibility. I can't see selling more than Dread if there is full backwards compatibility. But I think there is. I think it is going to be backwards compatible, and I think it is going to sell more because the nature of the backwards compatibility is different now. I don't think it's the same thing that it used to be. What it means now, because now you can upgrade the games. The thing is, you can make it backwards compatible because now you can release DLC patches that upscale the games and make them great. So Metroid Prime 4, people, the question was, is it going to be a cross-gen game? Is it going to be on Switch and Switch 2? It's going to be on the Switch. And it's going to have patches to bump it up to the Switch 2's power capabilities. Why? Because you can do that now. You don't need to have two separate versions of the game. You can do one version of the game that upgrades to the better hardware, and that's going to be a great transition point. That's the thing, and I think that's why Metroid Prime 4 is going to sell so well. It's going to be the premier game that you buy for the Switch 2, but if you have a Switch 1 and you're not going to buy a Switch 2 yet, you can still buy Prime 4. And then when you buy a Switch 2, you're going to up it. You're going to update the game, and it's going to look even better. 3 million was massive for a Metroid game. Same with Pikmin 4 hitting the numbers it did. It's not Nintendo, it's not Mario high, but it's a massive success. They need to launch with something Mario, something evergreen, and have something for the core fans. Metroid Prime 4 being that core game. You think it needs to launch with a Mario game? I don't know. I don't think it needs to. I think the Switch needed to. Coming off the Wii U, you needed to sell something early, and they did it with a Zelda game. I don't think you need to do that with the Switch 2. I can see Prime 4 selling more than 3 million just because of number 4 in the title. No, I see it selling more because I think it's going to be a Switch-compatible game that updates to the Switch 2. And it looks better with better visuals and all. But that means that you've got 146 million people that are able to buy Metroid Prime 4, as opposed to just the people that buy the new system. Metroid and Pikmin aren't the best-selling series in Nintendo, but they sell enough to keep going. Dread and Pikmin 4 hit 3 million each, which sounds like a lot. And they are for non-Mario, Zelda, Pokemon, Smash. Yeah, absolutely. Bigger thing, I know you make them idea. I just don't think anyone in Nintendo or outside of it, no matter how much they act like and ask the public, have an interest in making. We've talked about that before, Dragoon. The idea that they just have no interest in making that. But if Nintendo tells them to make an F-Zero game, they're going to make an F-Zero game because they get paid by Nintendo, because they work for Nintendo. So we've already had that discussion. I know that video game developers don't get to make video games because they're passionate about those specific games. If the people who run the company say make this game, they're going to make that game. They're going to want people who are passionate about it so that they try to make the best game they can. But the idea that an F-Zero game isn't being made because individual developers don't want to make it, I don't believe completely. I believe that there's no interest in it at the time, or there hasn't been an interest. But if Nintendo CEOs walk into the room and say, we want to make an F-Zero game, I don't think the developers have the capability of sitting there going, but I don't want to make an F-Zero game. And then they just say, okay, never mind, we're not going to make one. We want you to make one, but you don't want to make one, so we're not going to do it. No, I don't think it works that way at all. I think that if the head honchos at Nintendo say we want an F-Zero game, they're going to make an F-Zero game. They're going to do that. That's how it works. I can't go to my job and decide I don't want to do my job. Did I just go back and... Yeah, you're right, AGM. That's exactly where we had that discussion. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, we're just a broken record here, Somber. Absolutely. 100%. It's important to talk all the time. Like force games to be made. Let people who... Yeah, but they're still going to do it. They're still a company. That's why. They're still a company. Yeah, I just don't think head honchos wanted to do it. That's all. But that's not a developer. We separate them all the time. That's not a developer. WayForward makes games to fund. Yeah, WayForward makes games to fund their passion project. Like, that would be a cool thing. That'd be a cool thing. It's like, oh, we made this game because we were supposed to, but that gave us money to make something else. But that's not going to work in-house. That's not going to work with a company like that. All right, I don't have my NES tournament game here, and I don't really feel like. Do I have anything else to play? Do I just get a Tetris round in, or do we just not play anything? Oh, look, Live Alive is there. Come on, Nintendo, release something random on the NES app. You said that Hydro point. WayForward makes licensed WayForward makes licensed games to fund Shantae. You know what you want others to do. It'd be interesting to see when Miyamoto leaves the company, whatever form, what kind of stories will come out about titles being locked away. Yeah, I mean, we did kind of see that with Jim Ryan, right? Jim Ryan left, and it felt like there were a bunch of things that happened. To be honest, can I be honest with you? I feel like we saw some changes after Iwata left or passed away. I mean, left, but after Iwata passed away, I feel like there were some things that happened where it was like, it seems kind of weird that this is happening now. Because Iwata wasn't really big into the mobile space, right? Iwata wasn't really big into like the online space and doing all of that stuff. And then Iwata passed away, and then we started to get like the mobile games. You know, I do wonder if there were moments. Yeah, Iwata was against it, and then Iwata passed away, and then all of a sudden we were getting mobile games, and they were very successful. Some of those were extremely successful, or at least successful enough. So it was kind of like, it sucks. You know, it sucks that he passed away, but at the same time, his passing away sort of opened the door for what other people did want to do. You know, so to the point earlier, like developers, you know, they have to be passionate about it. Maybe that does happen. Maybe there are developers who are passionate about wanting to make an F-Zero or a Kid Icarus, and it's because the head honchos aren't saying it. That's holding them back. He did it with Mario Run, which was Mario Run was in his time, but he was strong-armed into it. So yeah, so you do have those moments. You have those situations where it's kind of a bummer, but they are kind of purposely holding something back because they don't feel like doing it, even though the developers clearly wanted to do it. Talk about all the time, Nintendo's unique attitude about development is what sets them apart. And one of those aspects is focus on creativity, not just make it for the shareholders, because they use Mario Zelda as a shareholder pleasers, so other games can be made. But that also that appears differently. That's the thing, is that sort of mindset appears differently. That sort of mindset is also used for, we just don't release the games. We don't crank out the games as fast as the shareholders want us to. Maybe they make games because the shareholders like those ideas. They just don't crank them out as fast as possible, because that's what kills games. Whenever we see games that come out from beloved franchises or even new IPs and they're terrible, a lot of the time it's because they were rushed. It's not about the franchises and the IPs. It's about how fast the games get cranked out. And a lot of the time we blame that on shareholders. We blame that on CEOs that make those decisions, and they have everything go too fast. Iwata wasn't completely against mobile games. Under his watch, he started the mobile initiative. After Iwata passed away, a lot of the charm of the directs went with him. We don't have a single figure like him to see in the showcases. I mean, we used to have some. I don't know if it was just Iwata, because we had Reggie. We had Reggie was before. We get Miyamoto every once in a while. I like when we see. I mean, it kind of feels like they cart Miyamoto out, right? But it's always for something different. But we see some people. We used to get what's his name? We used to get Sakurai every once in a while, right? They should put, you know what they should do? They should put Tekken on Switch and then have Harada come out. just do that. No, the mobile game started underwater, but he passed away before they actually got announced. This is wrong. I'd say his passing, Nintendo have only been successful in terms of going up and up. Yeah, and I don't know. Steven, I think for the most part it's a coincidence. I think for the most part, that's kind of coincidence that it just happened. We just happen to be in an era where Nintendo went up and up. But I do think that there are some of these things that probably maybe got pushed ahead a little bit faster. You know, the mobile initiative started while Iwata was still around. But who's to say? But somebody said earlier that he was strong-armed into it. So we don't know how much he was strong-armed into this stuff. I also don't know a lot about behind the scenes. I don't know. Like Iwata passed away, and I'm assuming it was because of illness. I don't know how long he was ill. I don't know at what point there was a transition of power. Like, we don't know that stuff as far as I know. I don't know that stuff. So we don't know when the transition of power took place. We know that he was still with the company, but we don't know how much of the decision making was his. So we don't know when that shift happened. So all of this stuff that started while he was still around could have been in a point when he was sort of lame duck and he wasn't actually making the decisions. He was just still with the company. Yeah, it wasn't holding Nintendo back or something. I just mean a change of position in the company might have helped with new blood. And yeah, and that's a better way to put it. Is that the leadership changed and new ideas were able to be presented. And we've heard that before about Japanese companies. Japanese companies have a very notorious reputation for sticking to the way things have always been done, and that stifling their creativity. You know, it's a well-known thing, in not just in video games, but in Japanese culture, that companies will stagnate because they stick to tradition and they don't want to try new ideas. Like, that's very normal in Japanese society. And it's unfortunate because it does mean that change comes too slow for a lot of situations. You joke about that people actually wanted a playable Harada in Tekken. The closest we got was a set of costumes called Bearded Man. Partnership with DNA was done under his watch, and the mobile stuff only happened because the Wii U was doing so bad they needed to find revenue streams beyond traditional console games. He also helped with the partnership with Universal, the partnership with Illumination. Iwata basically laid the foundation for Nintendo's current success. He just passed away before anything came to fruition. Iwata's biggest undersold achievement Nintendo staff credited him for is the Switch. He really helped push and get ready. But again, he passed away from cancer. He and Nintendo thought he had recovered. Both thought he had recovered. Most of the high sellers were games that were still had his guidance. Mario Kart is still obviously in his time, and again, the Switch is still his baby, even if he didn't live to see it grow. So I don't count that as a loss. Like many leaders, you have your wins and your losses when just sticking to one mindset. Yeah, Japanese companies in general and people in general get very stuck in their ways. He had cancer, but was still working on paperwork from his hospital room, even late into his illness, probably. Later, Somber, have a good one. Yeah, I mean, we're going to wrap up here in a second. We didn't actually play any video games. We tried. I still got my NES app open. Oh, he didn't transition. As far as they and he knew, and recovered. They pushed him to take time off, but he passed away literally a day after having a meeting about future plans. Current Nintendo leadership at Nintendo, Iwata pretty much mentored them. Kimishima, during the transition of his death, Furukawa now, he pretty much worked with them for years. So yeah, so there's going to be a respectful sort of change of the guard there. So they're going to try and observe his wishes, but they're going to also be able to make some different things, and they're going to it's probably a good thing right now, just because the industry is changing so drastically. You know, we're seeing such a massive shift in video games in general that I do worry about some of these companies. I do worry that old thinking might be a problem. I feel like Nintendo's going to be okay, but I do worry that old thinking might be a problem, because I do think that I think that no one can predict video games in 5 and 10 years from now. I think that anybody who thinks that they can predict where the industry is going to go is kidding themselves. We just have no idea. We don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what the gaming landscape is going to look like in 5 years. It could be anything. There could be no consoles left. Nintendo could be the only console. Everybody could have a console, but they're all hybrid systems. You know, we can be in a position right now where nobody can predict anything. But let's say 15 years ago, right? 15, 20 years ago, right? PS2, GameCube, you could have predicted that there would be another one of each, right? You could predict that there would be another PlayStation. You can predict that there would be another Xbox. You could predict there would be another Nintendo. You could have done that 20 years ago. But now you can't be sure that there'll be another Xbox. And if there is, what it would be like. I still say we can't even be entirely sure there'll be a PS6. I still think that the PS6 might not be something that everybody thinks. I don't know that it'll even be a traditional console. I'm pretty sure there'll be another Nintendo after the Switch 2. I'm pretty sure that'll be the case. But we have no idea what those landscapes are going to look like the next time, 5 years and 10 years from now. We have no idea. they might all be gone, and Nintendo is the only one left, and everybody else becomes sort of a platform holder. They might all have consoles, and they might all be hybrid consoles. Microsoft might move to make a Steam Deck type device, or they might disappear and just become Microsoft Gaming and only sell their games on other platforms. Sony's primary device, the PS6, could be the PlayStation Portal could have been the prototype for that. And then eventually we just get a really powerful handheld system from them that docks. And then once again, Nintendo has guided everybody in a specific direction. Something that we've talked about before. For as much crap as Nintendo gets, every time they make something and it hits, everybody else does it. They hit with motion controls and everybody did it. They're hitting with this hybrid system and now everybody's making one. Everybody's got a handheld PC or some version of handheld player that they're doing, and some of them have existed before, right? I always joke that the first system like that was the Turbo Express Portable, or actually the Nomad. The Nomad was the first one because the Nomad also plugged into your TV. So some of these ideas have been around, but Nintendo was the one that made everybody say, "Oh wait, that works," and that's what everybody wants. So now we have the Steam Deck, and now we have the ROG Ally and the G. What's the G Cloud? Is that Logitech's one? And that's why the PlayStation Portal kind of pissed me off, because they were so close to a good idea and they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball so close to the goal in order for them to have a massive product there, and they didn't have it. They screwed that one up. But the next time, maybe they don't screw it up. Maybe the PS6 is just a really powerful handheld system, or maybe it's a dual system. Maybe it's the Wii U, where it's a really powerful console, but then it comes with a PlayStation Portal controller that you can take some of your games with you. The problem with the Wii U was that you were forced to play it, but what if you weren't? What if the Wii U was a standalone console with a regular controller, and then some of the games you could transfer over to the gamepad and take them with you? It would have been way more popular. Iwata is also the reason for the current Nintendo plan to focus on younger staff to take the lead in the future. Yeah, nobody can predict anything for gaming. And that's what's fascinating about the Switch successor to me. What does the new system post Iwata look like? This launch system will be Furukawa's test to see if it can lead a launch system. The smartest thing they can do, Marcos, is just the Switch 2. Really, if you try and make a drastic change from anything you're a fool. Just do the Switch 2. It's what the fans want. It's what the industry wants. Just do a better Switch. That's it. You don't need to do anything more creative. The only thing that I think that they should do is make it like VR compatible. That's it. Miyamoto, Iwata, and Gunpei Yokoi are the three pillars of mindsets that are still present even today at Nintendo. Most quality at the lowest price, fun over everything, and reach those you never think might be interested. The PS6 is a smartphone. The PlayStation computer, I've said before, I think Microsoft would be the better one to do that. Xbox PCs, I think, would be an interesting idea. Previous head was well like, me had no idea how games and consoles work. When you work with Iwata, he understands. I'm going to poach him. He had a Iwata lead product and trained staff when he did take over. Everyone was already like, oh, he wasn't already doing that. The PS6 is just a Persona game. Oh, it's Persona Social Link 6. Oh, I'm not getting that. Even the failures. Yeah, the Virtual Boy was one of the first VR devices, and Sony thought the Wii U could work if they did it. Nope, it got worse. People asking for Xbox handheld, to which I say, why? Something tells me Xbox audience has no interest in portable gaming. No, I think the Xbox has an interest. I think everybody has an interest in portable gaming as long as home gaming is just as viable. I think that there's a lot of people who don't like the idea of the Switch, not because they hate portable gaming or the possibility of it. It's because the home console experience is weaker. But if you gave everybody a system as powerful as the Series X or the PS5 and they could take it on the go, I think a lot of people would say, yeah, that's fine. You know why? Because if you don't want to take it on the go and you don't care about portable gaming, just don't take it. I remember when the Switch came out and people were like, I'm not going to take that anywhere. That's crazy. I'm not going to walk around with that device. I'm going to get robbed, or I'm going to lose it, or it's going to break. And then, you know what I used to say to them? All right, well, then buy a Switch. Buy a pack of zip ties. Zip tie your Switch to your dock. And don't ever take it anywhere. So don't be portable. But the problem that they ran into, and justifiably so, is that if they care about graphics and game fidelity, that's not a good system for them, because they don't care about the portability. They care about they care about the visual quality of their games and the performance of their games, and the Switch is not the best system for that. But what if it was? What if you could get a PS5 strength system through and through, 100% one for one PS5 strength system, but you could take it on the go? That would be a killer system. That would be a powerhouse system that people would love to have. What did Nintendo do? Didn't do the Wii at all, and they went with alternative they had in development, which would have been similar in power to an Xbox 360, as we learned in the Giga League. That would have been an interesting landscape. I mean, maybe they would have been so popular they would have killed everybody else. If Nintendo ever had a system as powerful as the other two, there's a good chance that third-party companies go with Nintendo. They have the best first-party games. There's a good chance that Nintendo annihilates everybody, which they kind of already are. Nintendo's annihilating the other two companies, and they don't even have the best quality of the games. Like the games that are multi-platform, the Switch is usually the worst version. No gamers have an interest in, but the company have no interest. Gamers have an interest, but the company has no interest. They're more focused on Game Pass and cloud gaming. Yeah, you're right about that. Apparently, the PS Portal is selling amazingly, but they still refuse to give any number. Yeah, right. Amazingly. It's like all the dates that I had last week. But I can't tell you about any of them. Just trust me, right? Even if they gave numbers, people would question validity, bundles, and a ton of other reasons to slam it down. Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, Lilac, it depends on the number, right? If they said it's selling amazingly and they sold 300,000 or 500,000, then you'd be able to say like, oh, well, it's because they had bundles and because they were selling it cheap. If it sold 10 million, that's like, all right. I mean, there's at some point you can't argue that number. There's got to be a number. I'm just curious as to what it is. Mortal Kombat 1. Which about Nintendo? They commit to their ideas. Yeah, Sony tried to do portable, but didn't put any effort in as they needed to try. It's like their cloud gaming still failing in anything that isn't visuals, and Microsoft is trying to do everything, waiting for something to stick. Nintendo does one thing and then runs with it all the way, even if it's clearly failing. They give it a real try. They give it the old college try. They really, you know, if they're going to put money into it, if they're going to develop something and they're going to try it out, they're going to see it through. And it's kind of wild. I still say it's wild that Sony's the PSP like ended. I always thought the PSP was super popular, and it's wild to me that they ended. That they switch over to the Vita at some, where they do the Go, right? Which the Go was a little bit ahead of its time. That doesn't do anything, and then eventually they move over to the Vita, but they just don't advertise it. The Vita just doesn't land the way it should have, because it was a great system. It's so weird to me that they were just like, nah, never mind. We didn't sell 50 million units in the first year, so we're going to shelve it. What are you talking about? What's the matter with you? Yeah, it did amazing in Japan. It just did terribly over here, and I don't know why. I don't understand what was wrong with the Vita. Because the PSP, I thought, did really well over here. It was just too expensive? Maybe. The Vita was always kind of weird. I always found the Vita kind of weird. Because isn't the Vita the one where they sold the OLED one first, and then eventually they made a non-OLED one? That was always kind of weird to me. Yeah, like the 3DS. The 3DS had a storied history in the beginning, because it was way too expensive and everybody didn't want to buy it. So what did they do? They lowered the price. They did that ambassador program. And people said, oh, wait, this is awesome. They lowered the price point. Sony was just like, they didn't buy it for $300 or whatever it was. Never mind. They must not want it. That's exactly what they did too, wasn't it? They didn't buy it for $300. They must not want it. Like, what are you talking about? They want it. They can't afford it. They're not going to buy it for $300 if there's no games for it. Now, Sony overpromised on the Vita, and we didn't get a lot of games Japan got until super late. I'm sure it was also region free. People could have done what they did for NA only game, but you couldn't find them. That's the thing. Even when the Lilac, I remember thinking that the Vita was dead for the longest time. Because I would go to a GameStop and they would have a tiny little section with a couple of games, and the games were always like the anime games. They never had the real popular stuff. So they like the stuff that would have been popular over here. It was always a bunch of anime games that anime games are fine. It's just they don't depending on the franchise and the hardware, they might not be super popular. I always remember seeing like a little Vita section in the corner, thinking, man, that thing is dead. It's like, no, it still survives over in Japan. It's just they're not doing anything with it here. I don't remember seeing ads for Vita games or the Vita versions of games. I don't remember seeing advertising for the unit itself. Like, it's kind of wild that I don't understand why. And again, I thought the PSP was popular. So why didn't you advertise that system? It's so strange. Nintendo would have shoved it down your throats. Only popular game on the Vita was Gravity Rush and maybe Soul Sacrifice. I've never seen a Vita. I've seen Vitas in person. I've never held one. I've never held a Vita. I've seen them at conventions for sale, but they're always too expensive. Persona 4 Golden was the Vita game. I wanted the Muramasa Demon Blade game because it had extra stuff apparently. You have a Vita? I tried to buy a Vita, but Vitas have actually gone up in price. 3DS eventually became a runaway success. Yeah, after a very rocky beginning. And why was the beginning so rocky in the early 3DS days? Because it cost too much money. It was no more complicated than that. It cost too much money. 2 Vitas, normal OLED one and a normal OLED one and a COD Black Ops Special Edition. That sounds awesome, by the way. The Vita was great when it came to remasters. I wonder. I should look at the Vita's library and see what they did. See how well they did. Comparison out of 15 million sales, the Vita sold a third in Japan alone. But again, compared to the PSP, let alone the DS, it's not even. So wait, it sold 15 million units. It sold 15 million units. That's kind of more than I was expecting, actually. And then a third in Japan. I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, that is kind of. Yeah, total. Yeah, a third in Japan. The U.S. usually has a bigger slice of the pie. They usually have more than 66% of the market for that stuff. So, that is kind of because yeah, like the Switch. I think the Switch, like Switch hardware, I think is like 30 something million in Japan, but it's 146 worldwide. So I think the U.S. market in the UK, the U.S. and the UK, I think combined have like 70% of that market, if not more. In Japan alone, the PSP had 21 million. Like, that's wild to me. That's so interesting that you had a successful system and you didn't follow it up with another one. Why wouldn't you do that? Oh, that's so weird. Sony really fumbled the bag on that one. All right. But that is actually going to do it for today. I think we're going to wrap up there. We didn't get to play any games. I'm sorry. I know you guys prefer when we play games to talking. Let's see here. Okay. I'll send you there. Nope. Didn't do that. Vita 10 is still the best version of the HD versions. It has all the same stuff as the other versions, but use the touch screen to have quick heal. So you didn't go into menus, you just tap the screen while running it. I have it. I have Final Fantasy 10 on Vita. I have 3 Vita games, but I have no Vita. When I bought a little thing that had a bunch of DS games, and there were 3 Vita games in. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It was a separate thing. It was a little case, but it had 3 Vita games in it. So I have 3 Vita games. What did I buy that case for? It's up there. I don't remember what I bought the case for. I think it might have been. Oh, I think it was a case for DS games or something, but it had Vita games in it. Like it didn't have any DS games. I think it had Vita games in it, but yeah, I have 3 Vita games. I just don't have a Vita. What am I 3 Vita games? Does anybody remember? I know I've said them before. I've said what 3 Vita games I have. I remember them. Does anybody remember? Do you think anybody other than Final Fantasy X? What are the other 2 Vita games? Let me say that. Did anybody remember what the other 2 Vita games I have are? Be a good trivia question one day. Oh, Persona, Tales of Heart, and Final. I mean, that would be kind of great, but no. Batman. What is it? It's Batman Blackgate. That's what it's called? Blackgate. Much like your Xbox collection, you have Xbox game. Yeah, I have Xbox Live, Xbox One games. I have several Xbox One games and no Xbox, and I technically have one Xbox Series X game. Star Wars. I have Star Wars Jedi. I have Jedi Survivor, but I don't technically own an Xbox. I have one in my house right now, and there it sits unplayed. And the other Vita game is Killzone. Those are my 3 Vita games, and no Vita to play them on. Yeah, Final Fantasy X, Batman Arkham Blackgate, whatever it's called, and Killzone. Those are my 3 Vita games that I have. Alrighty, but what the heck? What is she doing? What is this? Okay. All right. But that is going to do it for today. So thank you everybody for stopping in, for hanging out. I very, very, very much appreciate it. We should be good to go tomorrow. We'll probably just play Mario Kart. I think it's been a little while since we did Mario Kart, so we'll probably do that. We'll see how it goes when everybody's here. But yeah, I think Mario Kart's going to be the goal. Maybe we'll do Mario Kart. Maybe we'll do the battle stuff. We don't usually do the battle stuff, so a little spice of life there. So hopefully everybody will be here for that. For right now, I'm going to send you over to Luca. Luca is. Looks like they're just chatting. It looks like they're watching commercials or something. So stick around after the credits, and I will send you over there to hang out and represent us very well. Give me a second here. Right there you go. All right. But thank you once again, everybody, for stopping in, for hanging out. Don't forget to drink your mask, wear your water, social distance whenever possible. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. And I will see you all tomorrow.